going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, and boy, do we have a jam-packed week lined up for you guys and a great episode. Excited to be getting into it with you guys. Excited to...
Are you struggling to say y'all? I feel like sometimes it's not like
well, obviously it's not in my blood.
Yeah.
You know, it's not who I am. It's more who I want to be.
Yeah, it does feel like you try to say it, but then you're like, you guys and everybody.
Yeah, you know, it's a work in progress. But I'm excited for y'all to listen to this week. Y'all. You guys.
It sounded real natural.
Yeah. I feel like y'all is Midwest.
Y'all
can be
Midwest.
Midwest
Y'all don't say
culture.
that.
Y'all's not Midwest. It's definitely not Midwest.
I guess, yeah, you guys is very I guess like
Yeah,
You
what-
guys.
the southern part of Midwest, like Missouri.
You guys.
You
It's
guys,
kinda New York,
yins,
though.
get a little Pittsburgh in there.
Yeah. Use. That's very Midwest.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. It's real. Upper Wisconsin. Use guys going to game.
Use guys
Use guys.
going? Oh my
You
God,
guys.
that's
Use
way
guys.
too much.
If you're saying use, you don't have to also say guys.
Well, people do though. Erin Lichy and her husband Abe are joining us shortly to talk a little Bravo. That not only are they Bravo stars themselves, but they are also Bravo fans, and they are here to talk a little Summer House, a little. Do they also watch Southern Charm too?
They do.
Ooh, fun. And a little White Lotus. They are also into prestige television. The finale was last night. We'll get into our thoughts when Erin and Abe join us. Like, let's just are satisfied, dissatisfied.
2 thumbs down.
Dissatisfied.
2 thumbs down.
Two thumbs up.
Oh yeah, I think I'm like
It's marinating.
I'm 1 thumb down, 1 thumb up. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Yeah. My big takeaway is like the big fans of prestige television, like whoever they are, you know, obviously we cover a lot of reality TV. We have our hardcore fans, but like sometimes the hardcore fans of prestige television are really fucking obnoxious. They take themselves very seriously, you know, like every scene, like any good scene when like Carrie Coon delivered that like monologue at the end of the finale and everyone's like, oh, give her the Emmy. Like every scene. There's a tweet that says, give someone an Emmy. It's just like, maybe, you know, honestly, it was fine. It was totally fine. She had a tear. It was a really good scene by Carrie Coon, and maybe she will win an Emmy. But like every episode, some fan of like this show is like, give him an Emmy. Or it's like some critic is just like talking about how that monologue didn't fit in this episode. It was just like, I don't know, you guys, it's the fucking show, man. Just chill the fuck out.
People are saying they're like comparing every scene with Rick and Chelsea to Meredith Gray's pick me, choose me speech. And they're like, every time I see Rick and Chelsea have a scene together, it's giving me the same cringe as the pick me, choose me speech. And I'm like, I think they're so lovely together.
You think Chelsea and Rick are lovely together?
Oh my
God, love them.
They are love. They are love.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, he was childhood trauma. She was love. He was childhood trauma.
He loved her.
You can't do
He
both.
loved
No,
her.
he loved
I know.
her.
But he couldn't get
I'm
past
not saying it was
himself.
healthy love. I'm not saying it was, you know, but like
He was troubled, but he loved her.
we want everyone to like
Mhm.
feel about us the way those two.
No, we don't give a fuck what people feel about us. At the end
Not
of the day.
us, just people.
Oh, yeah.
Like I mean, so we just want
Overall.
we don't want someone to love us the way they loved each other. All I'm going to say, it was a
Yeah.
therapist's fault. It was a therapist's fault.
Oh,
No.
the stress.
For not taking.
Stress management.
Yeah.
He said, I need to talk to you right now. It was very clear.
That
You
is
could see it in
true.
his eyes. She was like, and I'll be back in an hour?
It was like sit on this bench for 1 hour, not like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like one whole
Would
hour.
you tell
for to
someone like
marinate.
on the edge of a bridge that they would be back in an hour? Because this man was on edge, literally.
I don't know. Do you go back to the hotel that you threatened a man at after you threatened a man?
Again, mental health problems.
he had
like
to
he's
get
not thinking
he had to
clearly.
get Chelsea,
Yeah, the guy is the
True.
love of his
Chelsea
life.
and
deserves
he had
an
to
Emmy.
eat breakfast.
She does.
Can we talk about a
Very
couple
true.
White Lotus beeline stories? One, the one that Woody
Oh,
Harrelson
yeah.
was supposed to play Walton's role, or
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell's. He was apparently up for potentially one of the two. Now, allegedly, or not allegedly, apparently, not even apparently, Is it apparently? I think it's apparently. Apparently confirmed that all the actors, all the lead actors on White Lotus make the same. That's like a Mike White rule or something. Like he just everyone it's all fair in love in filming. And the speculation was that Woody was like, I'm Woody Harrelson. You're like, I make 20 mil per movie or something. I don't know if he actually said that. But he came out and said that's not true. He opted for a family vacation.
Yeah, he wanted the real thing.
How family oriented for him to be like, you know what? I'm going to turn down the hottest show to just go to a cabin with my family.
I'm glad it worked out the way it did. First of all, Walton and Sam were incredible in both these roles. I don't think anyone could do better. And I'm a huge fan of Woody, but I think this show's beneath Woody. No offense to White Lotus. Like I want to see like good character actors that, you've seen in a handful of shows like this where, like Jason Isaac or up and comers like Patrick Schwarzenegger. I think this show is about like showcasing talent that we've either not noticed or underappreciated. Like we don't need Woody Harrelson for this show. Like I just feel like it. I mean, Sam Rockwell is in Woody's conversation
caliber.
He certainly is a caliber. I think Sam still like flies under the radar sometimes, unlike Woody. I don't know. I think Sam Rockwell is one of like my dream guests in terms of, or dream hangs. Like honestly, just dream hangs. I heard that Sam Rockwell, when he was back in the day when he was like an up and coming actor, he would come into an audition and act like he didn't have the sides, like he didn't have the
script.
Yeah, the script, the sides.
Yeah.
He would get the script and he would act like he has to learn it on a fly, even though he's already practiced them. And he would come in and audition as if like he just saw the script and giving them this impression that he just like figured it out on the fly, which I thought was pretty badass. And then my Woody Harrelson story. I don't know if I ever told this story, but it's one of my Hollywood regrets. Right after I was The Bachelor, I was on Jones on 3rd having a turkey sandwich, a turkey club sandwich in the corner by myself. It was like right after The Bachelor season aired. And a man came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and it looked exactly like Woody Harrelson. But it wasn't. It was his brother, according to this man. And he was very nice and very lovely. And he's like, "Hi, I'm Woody Harrelson's brother." And he's like, "I watched you on The Bachelor, a big fan of the show." And he's like, "Hey." And he offered me like good weed. He offered me like Woody Harrelson weed. And I declined. I was like kind of caught off guard. This man looked exactly like Woody Harrelson. Anyways, it's definitely a life regret. I wish I would have not turned it down. I wish I would have just said yes to this opportunity, whether it's actually his brother or not, and just like went with it. Because maybe no, I could be smoking buddies with Woody Harrelson right now.
There was a headline about Turkish tourism set to collapse after Walton Goggins makes receding hairlines look kind of sexy.
Does he though?
And here's my take on this. I think Walton Goggins wears his receding hairline and his bald spot with confidence.
And well,
right?
He wears it well.
He wears it well.
Is it receding hairlines? If they're sexy, what about bald spots? Is he also making bald spots sexy? Because he has a bit of both.
He does have a bit of both. I think it's less about making a receding hairline or a bald spot sexy, and I think it's just Walton Goggins' absolute charisma and confidence and charm.
Exactly.
So turkey's okay. We don't have to worry about.
I think turkey's fine.
If the men just like wore their bald spots or receding hairlines with confidence, or if they have such a big bald spot and they're just holding on to like barely anything, it's like, just go ahead and shave it off. Yeah. Like, just be bald. Some women love a bald man.
Have you guys ever heard of r/bald? It's a Reddit thread of guys. It's the most wholesome Reddit thread I've ever seen.
And is it just a bunch of guys like cheerleading?
Yes, it's being like, "You look so good, dude. Like, this is awesome." And it's like guys, it's like bald guys posting pictures. A friend told me about it.
I will say I have found myself on toupee TikTok, and it's the toupee queen who creates toupees for these men, and it's all these men. They come in and they definitely need some work done, and she attaches that toupee and she glues it down.
They glue on.
They glue it on, and then
I'm kind of into those videos.
And then she's like, "No working out. You can't get that head hot." And then the way that they try to like stick their fingers through it, but it's just like stiff, non-moving hair. It's interesting.
My sister's ex-fiance did the glue toupee for a minute. Then he had a gambling problem and he couldn't afford it anymore, so he had to let go of it.
It does seem like an she was like, all right, well, if you do work out and you're in the sun a lot and your head sweats, you'll have to get it redone every 2 weeks. I was like, holy shit, 2 weeks.
I think just find this Reddit thread and just get some moral support. And
if you guys are struggling, r/bald, it's a beautiful community.
Or go to Turkey.
This story about the composer for White Lotus quitting, I'm triggered by it. It's quite stupidity.
Why?
It's just utter stupidity by this composer. Set your ego aside, bro. Like, if I'm understanding this story, it's just like Mike White and this composer got together. They changed the theme song for season 3, right? And then he wanted the full version released. Mike White shot him down, and now he got all mad about it and quit. So, like, it's just like, dude, you got hired by a show for a show to write for the show. Like, do your job and like set your ego aside. And because like he got triggered, it sounded like, because when episode 1 came out and the song came out, everyone was like, oh, this isn't the like infamous or famous like White Lotus song that we all loved and we all got excited about. I'll tell you what, though, I fucking love the new song. It grew on me. Like, I think it grew on a lot of people, but it's always jarring at first when you're expecting one thing and you get another. And this guy got all like, salty about it. And then now he's like decided to announce publicly that he's quitting the show. Like, why would you want to work with that guy? If you're another showrunner or director, why would you want to bother like hiring someone who's just going to make your life more difficult? I mean, like, it's a nice song, but I bet there's other composers out there who can write music.
But I mean, arguably, you could say like his music made White Lotus what it is popular for. Like he quotes it as the Ululus, where it's like everybody knows the Ululus, but it's like if he feels disrespected,
I don't think the composer made this show famous. I think Mike White did.
It's definitely what Mike White has done correctly as the creator of White Lotus is understanding how to like bring the best people for the job.
There's more than one
into the
composer
scene
in this world. I'm just saying, like, there's every season we get excited about various cast members. We're talking about actors. We've Walton. Like, we're talking about him in ways we haven't, we've seen Walton in a lot of movies and a lot of shows. He's in like almost every HBO show. He's been in a lot of great stuff. I've been a fan of him for a long time. I've been a fan of him longer than I really knew his full name. And it's shows like these that are like popular in the zeitgeist of pop culture that really make working actors stars. Like, and it's the whole show. It's not just like one person, but if there is any one person, it's Mike White. It's not some composer for like coming up with a catchy tune. I bet they can find other composers to coming up with catchy tunes. I don't know. It's just like a perfect example of like one person like allowing a moment to like, get to their head and act like a diva. I don't know. This is diva behavior by the composer.
It's also interesting because it's like very common for these kinds of things to happen. Like sometimes like creative partnerships, you just like don't click with people and then it doesn't work out and you do leave for creative differences. But to go on like a whole press tour about is a choice.
This composer's literally trying to make it about them. He's just out there like, being kind of messy about it, talking about how he didn't even let Mike White know in person that like we're all kind of finding out at the same time. Just because like Mike didn't want to like drop the whole track on YouTube. It's like, come on. That's so silly.
Parker Posey also forgot who died.
Yeah.
Girl.
I don't believe that. I think she just said that and we just believe it because it's Parker Posey.
Charlotte LeBon, who plays Chloe, Greg's girlfriend, did say that like everyone's going to hate Mike White. And
a lot of people had strong feelings about it.
But yeah, I wasn't very happy with the finale, I will say. I was just expecting a lot more. I was like, I just think you can't top the yacht scene with Jennifer Coolidge last season. It was epic. And I'm just sorry this one fell short for me.
The backtracking is what got me.
Did you guys see that headline of Eric Conover, the New York City real estate agent?
I'm obsessed with this story.
Is now being charged. He's being charged with attempted murder after allegedly striking a police officer with his car.
Why are you obsessed with this story?
I'm just like fascinated by like someone like I think when it comes to like the celebrity public figure space, I think it's a mix of incredibly normal people who have either incredible talent or had some luck and made something work, or people who are just psychopaths who know how to lie and manipulate other celebrities to get access to them. Like this guy he's filmed with like Chris Hemsworth and other like public figures. He has his whole like YouTube platform. And the more we find out about this guy sounds like an absolute sociopath, like an absolute psycho. He tried to run over a cop. I don't know, there's this video of him talking about how he's going to eviscerate everyone with his intelligence. It just reminds me just how in Hollywood, like if you make it a celebrity, it's like you feel very alone, right? You don't really know who to trust. And whether you're like an A-list celebrity or a D-list celebrity, so much about like making friends and like who your circle of influence is about like who you can trust or who can help you out. And then if you become like a famous person overnight, or, you know, like, or even if a reality TV star, you get a little celebrity, like even your friends or like, you know, family members, like cousins start treating you weird or differently, right? Because they don't really know how to be around celebrities, right? And so sometimes celebrities are looking for people who know how to act normal around them, right? They don't want to become friends with fans. They want to become friends with people who treat them as equals, right? So that allows a certain type of person to infiltrate these like celebrity circles sometimes, because they're very good at like playing a role. Like the Anna Delvey story, like that whole story was based around this character who could act the part, who could like be in these rooms of super powerful, super rich people and act like she belonged there. And that kind of ability to do that allows certain types of people, like it seems like this guy, to, you know, to get someone like Chris Hemsworth to like trust him or like film with him, because like Chris is like, oh, this guy's a successful guy. He has other successful friends, but there's a certain type of person who just lies through their teeth and they're total like sociopaths, and they get access to like various celebrities. I feel like every normal celebrity has had an interaction with a total sociopath because like they thought they could be trusted or they acted the part. And I think this is like this is the type of person that every once in a while reveals themselves to be like, oh, we should not have been fucking with that guy, because it turns out they're a total sociopath and they're not who they said they were. There's nothing authentic about them. They're just crazy as fuck, and they've been lying the whole time.
100%. I mean, I think that exists everywhere, but I'm just like, even then, his whole claim to fame was him trying to be a luxury real estate agent. And he got really well known in 2018 because he started doing collaborations with Ryan Serhart, who does $1 Million Listing for Bravo. So it's like, and obviously when you're a luxury real estate agent, your Rolodex is going to be filled, depending upon where you live, LA, New York. It's going to be filled with most likely celebrity clients because they can afford the real estate that you're trying to sell. So in the process of that, not only, but I do think the thing that you need to be wary about are people that want to just be public figures. Like actors become famous because it's a part of it, but it's like they're honing in on their skill, their craft, and it just so happens to be in the public, you know, that the public needs to respond for them to be successful. But I'm like, when you're going out to be a public figure, like he documented his whole body change. He got on RHOA. I told you he matched with one of my roommates and he was willing to like fly her out and this whole thing. And I was like, nah, maybe not, after watching a couple of his videos, because he's very like, welcome to, and I was just like, it's very like, what's his real personality? You don't know. So yeah, he's put on an entire front this entire time as this like well put together luxury real estate agent. And then obviously you saw the video after he was detained, and this man is unhinged. And he's literally sitting there saying that he wants to eviscerate people, that he's like, if you want to test my competence, like literally threatening whoever is interrogating him. So I'm just like, yes, exactly. That I'm like, you have no idea who people actually are based off of what they're putting out there, wanting to become a public figure or wanting to become famous without actually having a reason or like a passion or like a skill.
You know, Chris Hemsworth is like sitting there being like, fuck. Like he's included in all of these like videos of him.
Everyone's like, all his buddies are sending him stuff. He's like, man, I just like, I don't know, the guy picked me up at the airport once or something.
But it is crazy that it has to go to like this extreme. You know, usually it's like they maybe like steal your clothes or something and you're like, what the fuck? Like, okay, fuck this person. I'm not talking. But this guy is like running over a police officer. Like he's doing crazy stuff.
And he got a DUI in March, like a couple weeks prior to all of this. So it's just like he's already been in trouble with the law. And then once he got pulled over again, he's claiming that he's been sober for like over 1,000 days. But then he ran over a cop while fleeing.
Was he drunk when he was running over the cop?
I don't think he got charged with a DUI. He's just not mentally sane.
Like just not all there.
Mm-hmm.
He's ordered to appear in court within 55 days for a competency hearing, and he will remain behind bars until then.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we have a great episode for you. Erin Lichy and her husband Abe are joining us shortly. And after that, we have the iconic Christina Hendricks is with us promoting her new show, Good American Family. It's out on Hulu. It's a great show. Many of you are watching it. It's that crazy story. What's her name?
Natalia.
Natalia
Grace.
Like, was she a kid? Was she not a kid? Like, what a crazy story. And it still seems like more things about the story are coming out. Like, do we even really know what the actually truth of the story is? It doesn't seem like we do.
I think she was definitely a kid.
Okay.
I think that
know
part
that
was
for sure.
proven.
No,
We know that for
think
sure.
She was older and
Yeah.
they'd just been lying to her. I don't know. There's
So we don't know.
someone out there knows, but it's not going to be me.
Anyway, Christina Hendricks is with us to talk about our project and a little reality TV. She's happens to be a huge Bravo fan. Excited to have Christina as well later in the show. Also tomorrow, we have a Going Deeper that, it's something. Allie Luber is with us on Wednesdays Going Deeper to talk about her life, her experiences, her new show, and her relationship with James Kennedy that night that he was arrested. Her thoughts on James, her relationship, Lisa Vanderpump. There is a lot there to unpack. You will not want to miss that episode. We really appreciate Allie taking her time to be as vulnerable as she was and finally open up about that experience in great detail. That is tomorrow for Going Deeper. Be sure to mark your calendars. You will not want to miss that episode. I promise you. There was some jaw-dropping, like, oh my God. Like, I didn't think you were going to say that. And then she did. And here we are. Is River asleep yet?
No.
She's not asleep.
No, my mom says she's trying.
River's, she's getting older. She's getting a little more personality, a little tougher to put down. But I got to say, I'm really enjoying my moments as a dad lately because River's starting to connect, with people outside of her mom. And like one thing, it's funny. I had an Ask Nick caller call in the other day. It was a young man. He was about to be a dad. He's not that young. He's like 37. And usually when people call in for Ask Nick, it's just like, they're stuck over some fuck boy or they're arguing with their mom or their friend or whatever. And there's some toxicity that we're trying to unpack and figure out. And this guy's question was like, hey, I'm about to be a dad. I just like, you have any general like advice for me? I was a little caught off guard because I was like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you... and so I offered it some advice, but I got done thinking about it after I got done with the call, and it made me think of something I didn't share with him. And that is like, as a dad, you got to find your thing early on to try to connect with your child. Like with River, she's so close with Natalie. Natalie grew her in her body. She's been connected with Natalie from the beginning. It's beautiful. I love it. And like as a dad, I've had to like wait for that moment, right? And so for me, like my thing, what I wanted is, just to find my thing with River, that she connected with me. So like that's why like in the middle of the night, I tend to be the one to go up and get her. I put her to bed most nights because I wanted to be that calming presence. And like, that's just something we started doing, like, especially like early on, like Natalie and I just kind of alternated. But as like Natalie got as River got older and was in her crib, like I tended to be the one to put her down. And my parents were visiting. And so it was like, oh, Mom, do you want to like maybe put River down? Just like spend some time with her before you leave. And Mom was like, sure. And then River started like crying and crying and crying. And she just was throwing a fit with my mom. And I finally was like, all right, I'll go in there. I'll help her out. And like River just threw herself at me and just like immediately went to sleep. And it was like this, like, and she goes, hi, Dada. And it was like the best moment ever. And it was just like, it really finally, now that I'm like connecting with my daughter, and then it made me sad. I'm lying there with her. She's going to sleep. And it kind of made me sad because when you have a child for the first time, every parent will, oh my God, this is so great. It goes by fast. It goes by fast. And you're like, it goes by fast, but everyone's like telling you that. And then when you hear like the same thing over and over, you're like, yeah, no, I get it. It goes by fast. But it really made me sad when like River, like, was like, hi, Dada, because it made me think that like that hi, Dada, that the way she said it in that moment, like she'll never say it like that again, because she is changing so fast. And like the way she speaks is changing, the way she enunciates is changing, the way she understands words are changing. And it was like, I'm never going to let anyone else put my daughter to bed other than me if I can help it. Like if I'm here, I'm putting her to bed because it's my thing with my daughter. And I would say to all the dads out there, and the man who called in for that advice, is like, find your thing. Like, find the thing that you can do on a regular basis that like your child can connect with you. Even like changing River's diaper. It's just like, I want to find like the thing that she counts on me to take care of her day in and day out, because like, it's great for, River has her connection with her mom. It's like undeniable. And now that River's getting older, I'm finally having a connection with her in ways that like somewhat compare to Natalie. And it's a really cool thing. But like, if it weren't for me putting her to bed like almost every night, like I don't know if we would have that connection. So anyways, just advice to all the dads out there.
People talk about like their favorite toddler moments, and a lot of it's like, oh, when they like do like the leg hug, when you're standing up and they walk up to you and hug your leg, or if they, grab a book and back up and then sit into your lap, There's like a lot of those things. I think I realized my favorite, and it's when she's crying, she's upset for some reason, and someone else is like trying to calm her down. Maybe I'm in another room. Maybe I'm like, she's throwing a tantrum or whatever it is. So I'm trying to ignore it. Well, then she'll like come up to me and I'll pick her up and she just goes, Mama. It's like, that's all she needed was just like her mom. And like the way she says it is just like it's like all she needed was me. And it's so soothing. And it's the sweetest sound.
I know, it's so sweet, and it does make me sad. It really like, it makes me want to stop time, because like she's just at an age that like all these moments will just, when she's 3, I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure like she'll do things where I get really excited, but like she's just never gonna like the way she acts today, she'll never act like that again. Like the person she is today is different. Like she's an entirely different person than a month ago. I don't know.
My mom just got her to sleep, and she's been in there for like an hour and a half trying. So I think there was, I'm sure, a lot of playing, and you can ask Abe what because they just had a new baby.
All right, up next, Erin and Abe are going to get into White Lotus Summer House and all things Bravo. Spring is here, and you are probably looking to update a few rooms in your house. And if you are, look no further than Wayfair. Wayfair has you covered for virtually everything in your home, whether it's bathrooms, vanities, vanity lights, mirrors, toilets and tubs, bathrooms, storage, sinks and faucets, backsplashes, and so much more. Wayfair has it all to get some really nice pieces to help you upgrade your home today.
Whether you're making a little update like a new kitchen cabinet hardware or doing a full renovation, Wayfair has stylish and quality home improvements products for every budget.
Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your spring home goals with endless inspiration for every space and budget, whether you need a light refresh or an organization overhaul. Wayfair makes it easy with fast and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. They'll even help you set it up. They also helped us decorate our office. Truly, any home that you have in your house, Wayfair has something for everybody. Find all your home improvements must-haves, from flooring to light fixtures to faucets and hardware, all in one convenient place with Wayfair. Shop the best selections of home improvement online. Get renovating with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All my bread eaters out there, have you heard of Hero Bread? Well, if not, you are definitely missing out. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love guilt-free, like enjoying a nutritious breakfast sandwich on a bagel, meal prepped enchiladas, or buttery rolls with family dinner. Their baked goods are delicious and flavorful, but have ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and are high in fiber. My favorite are their croissants, absolutely delicious and flaky and wonderful.
One of the easiest meals I can make, River, is a chicken and cheese quesadilla or a cheese quesadilla, and the tortillas from Hero Bread are so good. And I know I'm giving her something that's healthy and delicious.
No compromises, just flavor, low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and high fiber. All your favorite recipes are covered with Hero Bread sliced bread, loaves, tortillas, bagels, and dinner rolls. Monthly small batch drops of indulgent flavors like their popular 2-gram net carb Hero croissants, my favorite, and new surprises coming each month this year. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code VIALL at checkout. That is hero.co. And use code VIALL at checkout. That's VIALL at HERO.co.
Hello.
Erin's manning the baby at home.
So wait, are you different room in the same house or different house?
No, Abe's
I'm
at
in my
work.
office.
Nice. He's calling us from work. Love that. How are you guys doing?
I was back at work the Monday after the baby was born. It was great.
Yeah, you're like really hands off these days, huh? Number 4, you're hands off.
You guys want to fight about
real
it
hands.
on the show? I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, right?
Let's do a scene.
How old is he now?
He's 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
He's a little baby.
Oh my
Well,
god.
congratulations.
So baby.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. I really do.
You look
feel really
amazing.
good. Thank you. Thank you. I actually am going to do a whole, like on our podcast, a whole talk about how different this pregnancy was for me. Because typically I'm like any other pregnant person. I don't know if you were like this, but I ate everything in sight. And like Abe would deliver me a sleeve of Oreos and milk in my bed every single night. And like, that was my ritual. This time I was like, I'm not going through that again.
Yeah.
It took me a year to lose the weight. And it's so interesting to me because my body is just reacting so differently. So
It's so funny. I was told by my doctor very early on. She's like, everyone always says you have to eat for 2. And it's like, you don't have to eat for 2. Like you just
She's a
eat
good
your
doctor.
normal. Yeah. Like you'll be
great
fine.
doctor you had.
I know.
I mean, this is an excuse when you're stuffing your face with the sleeve of Oreos. You're like, I'm eating for 2. Leave me alone.
It is the excuse.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And
Yeah.
then you're like, and it takes so long to bounce back and it makes you not want to have more kids.
Abe,
so.
did you gain any weight during any of Erin's
Dude,
pregnancies? Because I got real chubby at the
You did?
maybe it's the fattest I ever was. I don't think I was ever over 200 pounds, except for the month that River was born.
Abe
I
did the
gained
same.
like 20 pounds. I lost it because I was like, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, fat fuck. What you disgusting piece of shit.
Shame.
But yeah, exactly. Like the scene from the Game of Thrones. But no, I lost it, and I was thank God, because I don't know if you had the same thing, Nick. It's like the late night eating. They go to sleep early because obviously they're tired and pregnant, and so you're just bored. And found myself just sneaking into the fridge. Sorry, Erin.
Well, Natalie
was-
told me that like husbands like sometimes gain sympathy weight as like a way of moral support. So I just took that as like a green light to just be a glutton and stuff my face at night. And I was like, oh, I have a high metabolism. This won't affect me. Well,
Wrong.
turns out
Get
I was
older.
wrong. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
older.
that's what happens, I think. When you get older, it's just not as easy to get it off.
Erin, can we address the elephant in the room? You got some online, the haters want to hate how you're parenting your child. You've been kind of popping off in the comments. I'm not even that familiar with it. I saw the video. You seem fine, but the mom shamers are out and about.
I think anytime you're holding a newborn and you're not holding them with like both hands like wrapped around the head, they're always gonna have a problem with it. It's like
he was on my elbow.
I see that, and I have no judgment towards you and how you hold your baby. It's just like I remember in the beginning when Nick and I we would like take videos or take pictures of us holding River, and it would be like, that actually maybe like we know we're holding that baby safe, but it's like the internet will internet.
There are a couple ones where I was like,
should not.
you know what? I can see where this is gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling once I saw it, I was like, okay, it does kind of look bad. But also I didn't care because like this is my 4th kid and all my other kids are perfectly fine.
Head's still attached.
Heads are attached. And I actually thought it was really endearing seeing all the people like ride for me and be like, she knows how to hold her babies. Leave her alone. Stop mom shaming. So that was kind of the cherry on top. I was like, you know what? You guys want to come at me for any little thing I do. I'm not going to like, run and hide and remove it and be like, oh, I'm sorry, internet. Like, no, my kids are okay.
Good for you.
You guys, your baby's River, you said?
Yeah, her name's River.
That was one of my names.
Was one of Erin's names.
For your boy?
I love that name. Yeah, for my 3rd.
There's a lot of boy Rivers out there. Not as many girls. So I guess we have. I don't know if that's good for River or not. Because she'll be going to school with a lot of boys named River, and she's gonna have.
I like it for a girl.
Is cool.
It's beautiful.
I like the irony.
What did you end up going with for your 3rd? If you didn't choose River.
Oh, we named him after my dad, Elijah.
Beautiful. And your 2-week-old, what is his name?
His name is Jack. Jack Hunter Lichy.
Jack Hunter.
Cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, was it harder? Like, was your first very easy to name and then your fourth very hard, or the other way around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They got progressively harder. Actually, with Layla, we were in the hospital. Yeah, they were. It was. Well, Jack, I guess we knew.
Jack, we knew.
Layla, we
was the
didn't have a
hardest.
name. I know. We were like, they were like giving us the papers saying, you're going to have to mail this in if you don't give us a name. Like this, you need to decide.
Oh my
Well, you could be
gosh.
Kylie Jenner and just
And-
kind of switch it up 3 months in or whatever it is.
I know.
You know,
It's
Doing
funny,
the
actually.
paperwork.
Her name was Wolf and Elijah's middle name is Wolf. So we thought that was funny. But or her baby's name was Wolf.
Yeah.
But yeah, Layla was a tough one. And I think the first was the easiest. I actually had a camper at a city camp that I worked at when I was like 14. I fell in love with this little camper named Levi. And he had long hair and blue eyes. And I remember I was like, Abe, if we have a boy, this is the name. Like, I'm in love with him. And one of my girlfriends that worked at the camp with me, like, wrote to me immediately when she saw the name. And she's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's the camper. I knew you were going to do that. You were going to take that name before I even had a boy. So it was
That's
cute.
funny.
all right. What did you guys think of the White Lotus finale?
I was a little underwhelmed, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I loved it.
You loved it.
There were parts of it that
Thank
were
you.
cool,
Loved it.
but I don't know, like the whole resolution with the family, it just felt there was stuff to be desired. Though I did appreciate the irony with what's her name, the woman who got the money from the guy.
Mm-hmm. Belinda.
Oh, yeah.
Belinda?
You
There was
called
like a really-
that was good.
It was like a good irony because it ended with her telling Porn Chai, I think that's the guy's name, you know, oh, sorry, we can't start the business. And that was literally the same exact thing that had happened to her last season. So I thought that was kind of an
Yeah, I do
interesting
like how they
twist.
kind of they made her character seem a bit hypocritical, you know, like just like what money can do, you know, or as soon as you have it, how your perspective immediately changes. You go from, you know, having all these like wishing you had money, or, you know, a lot of people who don't have money always talk about what they would do once they have money, or how generous they would be with their money. You know, when they expect
Yeah, it's
other
like
people
the famous question, like, what would you do if you won the lottery?
I would
It's like,
help
I would
some-
give
I would
half
give
of
it
it
away.
to charity.
Yeah, immediately.
Right.
I would set up my family and blah, blah, blah. I would
Yeah.
give this, and then you have it. And you're like, well, you know, listen, the taxes are just really, you know, a lot. And, you know, it's just like immediately you start realizing how much money you don't have or where it's going, and everyone's asking you for money. That was I did like that darkness there. I think I had to marinate on the finale. You know, at first, I was really pissed off when he almost killed the kid. I was like,
Me
That
too.
was
we
crazy.
don't need to kill the
Me
fucking
too.
kid. Really? The kid? Like the only kind of innocent soul. I mean, he did jerk
Yeah.
off his brother, so I guess he's not that
Yeah.
innocent. But like, you know, honestly, like he's He's a teenager. He's like,
Yeah.
you know, but like, thank God the kid survived.
And that was also such a beautiful scene, the way that he came to. And I thought the whole relationship between Chelsea and what's his name on the show? Rick, right. I love him. He's
Well,
such a good
before
actor,
the
but-
episode started, I said to Natalie, I go, I just don't want Rick and Chelsea to die.
Yeah.
That's the only
Oh, really?
thing I care about.
Damn.
And I
There's
thought
It was
something beautiful
poetic.
about it, though.
It
It
was
very poetic.
was. Did you think they were in love?
I think
Yeah,
so, but he
I
was so
got the sense.
troubled by his past. He had such childhood trauma that he just couldn't let it go. And seeing how she just continued to follow him, and like she was just so love struck. And when he saw her there, just like the way that it all ended was, and then the Darth Vader of it all, I am your father. Like I
Oh,
thought that was the funny
so
part,
random.
you know?
No,
It
that
was so
was
random, but it was funny.
they really did. Mike White really did pull from Star Wars. The like, you go kill your father, and then find out it's your father, but instead of like not killing your father, he found out after, like he did not have the power of the Force. He couldn't bring himself back. I don't, you know.
No,
You
it's
know,
interesting.
I will say what my favorite part of the ending was the very end of Jason Isaacs, who is probably my favorite character. Just
He was
like, the way he
excellent.
conveyed like
I
the
agree.
stress of a man dealing with the fallout of that and trying to protect his family. Like you really felt it, but there was something really beautiful about that last scene where the camera zooms to the water droplets. And I think a few episodes ago, the monk was talking about life. It's like, you know, the ocean, and then spray of water, and then it drops back in and you join the ocean. And there's just kind of this resolution of peace that you could tell he had within himself,
Yeah.
given that he was going back to all the chaos. I thought that was really cool.
I liked it at the end where he finally said like things are going to be different, because his character or that family pissed me off throughout the whole season. This kind of entitled, like no resiliency, like no backbone. It was just the dad and whatever work he did to like, accumulate whatever, wealth that this family has. I don't know the family's history. Obviously they're fictional characters, but there was this no resiliency, like this idea that he was willing to like kill his family because he didn't think they could like endure no air conditioning or like having to get a job or anything like that, to finally be like, you know what, things are going to be different. We're just going to have to figure it the fuck out. Like, I was like, I needed that line from his character, because it just like, it annoyed me to no end, the weakness of that like entire family.
Sam Rockwell, like coming out of the hotel room doing the somersault, like jumping. That felt so that felt so
good.
Improv, but it was so good.
So good. I loved his cameo.
I know everybody's been talking about it, but that monologue, Sam Rockwell's monologue from a few episodes ago, I thought was so fucking awesome. It's so dark, and it just kept going and going.
He's one of my favorite actors. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. I mean, the more I thought, it's just like someone has to die. And like the more I was upset that it was like Rick and Chelsea dying, then the more it's just like, you know what, I guess, whatever. I'm kind of fine with it.
Yeah, there was a certain piece, he killed the father, found out it was the father, and like there's a finality to it that they ended up together forever. So
yeah, it was sense. Like he killed his dad, and then he like got his girlfriend shot, and then it's like he's gonna go to prison. It's like he's like carrying her out, and so like him also dying with her. It was kind of like a nice little bookend, Can
we talk about guy talk for a second?
Oh, the guard, yeah.
That was like very similar with the woman who got the money, where it's like a situation will just change your perspective. He was like, I'm not meant to be a guard, and I'm not into violence. And then when it came down to it, he wanted to, I think, just impress Mook. And so he killed Rick. And
how do you remember all these names?
He is such a when he watches, he's watching. Abe really catches on to everything.
Are you a phone down guy, Abe? Do you put the phone down when you're watching Prestige?
I'm not a phone.
He yells at me if I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
I hate it. I don't watch that much TV, so when I do, I'm dialed in.
He did shoot him in the back, though. Kind of dirty. You're not supposed to shoot someone in the back.
But
he was unarmed. He was carrying a dying woman.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Exactly.
And then shot him in the back.
Yeah, he turned out to be like a real POS.
He had Srilata
yelling at him. Yeah,
yelling
at
him.
There was a lot going on, but
the pressure.
The pressure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He buckled under pressure.
All right, how does this rank for you guys in terms of season 1, 2, or 3? Where do you fit in season 3 in terms of best White Lotus season of all time?
The bottom.
I think they're so different. Really, the bottom?
Why the bottom?
I don't think it's the bottom.
I like the other 2 seasons better. I don't know.
They were funnier. They were lighter, I think. Don't you? I mean, this was dark.
I don't know. I think season 3 is up there for me.
Me too. I loved it.
I don't even remember what happened in 1.
One was just hilarious. I remember that was like when they first came. There was that younger family, right? And that
Sydney
girl
Sweeney and Connie Britton.
Yeah.
And then remember the crazy manager that was like in the room with one of the doing blow with one of the.
He's the one who died. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was funnier and lighter.
Yeah, that's true.
It was also new, like the whole format of the show and everything. So it was just one of those shock value things. And then I thought last season was awesome.
I think 1 is up for me, then 3, and then 2. Even though I really like 2, but I think 3 is before 2 for me.
Well, how are you feeling about Summer House?
I have lots of thoughts. Abe has not watched, so I'll have to
give
my own.
Yeah, this is all Erin.
I just think it's very. I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about the breakup.
Well, yeah, it's tied into
That's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the whole thing is kind of misogynistic. Like, why are we even talking about the fact that she works? Like, to me, that the idea that and I'm not saying that Craig is like a misogynist or anything. I think he's lovely and very nice. I've met him. He's actually very, very sweet. But like the concept of constantly talking about her working, I find strange. And I don't know if it's because like I'm a New Yorker and like that was never a conversation between me and my boyfriend at the time and now husband. I just worked, right? Like it wasn't, you're going to have kids and then you're going to, like, are you going to slow down? And that just, I mean, I'm working now, right? Like I'm always working. It's just, and I have 4 kids, and that never, career and family life was never, a decision that I had to make. It was always known that I was going to continue working. I was always a career person. So I just find the conversation strange. Like, why is it always talked about?
Was it, because I mean, I haven't seen it, but was it in the context of like, just in general that she's working, or
no, it was more with like just kind of figuring out their cadence of like, where Craig felt prioritized. I think more of it was like, are they going to settle down? Where are they going to settle down? He was settling down in South Carolina. She was in New York. Her career was like really taking off, and she was going on tour. And, on tour, he was just like, I guess, a little nervous about just like, where he kind of fit in priority wise. It was less about like whether she was working, period, and just like I felt, like how Craig felt prioritized in relationship relative to like her career.
Because I think they had like, they saw each other every 2 weeks, or like they had a schedule of how they saw each other. And so he was like, well, you going on tour, like that's obviously going to mess that up. So where do I fit in? And I think she took that as.
I just think when that starts to become a conversation, at least this is how I would feel, right? I would just be kind of like turned off, because it's like, you fucking like figure it out, like come visit me, or like don't keep asking me how I'm going to fit in, because then it almost like, and I really don't want to be, I'm not hating on Craig. I think he's so cute. He's very handsome. Like he'll find somebody, I'm sure he's adorable. But I just feel like it kind of makes you feel like icky almost. Like, why do you keep asking me? Why aren't you confident enough? Like, you just want a man to be like, all right, cool. Like you go do your thing. And I would rather be the one that's kind of like, okay, so are you coming here? Like, when are you showing up? I'd love to see, not constantly the other way around of feeling like you're doing something wrong by being busy. I mean, I as somebody who works, like that would bother me.
No, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Erin.
But you don't even know what's happening.
No, but I understand like the theme, like it's a common dynamic, I think, between men and women, from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It seems to me like more so that he probably is feeling neglected and is maybe insecure from that, which I can understand. But I don't think that's misogynistic. I think that's just the typical dynamic.
Just the idea of constantly asking about a woman's career as though like there should be a decision.
How much of that
made.
is editing with the cadence of how much?
Sure,
I don't know.
I also think, but I'm kind of with Abe here. I think I also think a lot depends
boys versus girls.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, listen, in Bravo
kidding,
world,
I'm
I think Abe probably, feel, the man's point of view isn't often like the focus or highlighted or even considered. It's always just like shut up and just like be there. But I also just like I see what you're saying.
Abe's gonna love you now.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. In terms of like, you're right. If a guy is very like needy and very just like kind of, the one who is just like, aren't like, aren't you gonna worry about me? Like that can be kind of an ick too. But I think a lot comes down to like, what is the relationship dynamic, period? Like Paige presents is this very boss, like confident, like she always tells you exactly what she's thinking and feeling. She like takes no prisoners. She's got a sharp tongue. Like if that's your partner in a relationship, it's really hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's usually only one very dominant person in a relationship, or there's two people, or it's even playing field. Very rarely is it like two dominant personalities. So I think Craig just kind of took a back seat to Paige's more dominant personality. And I think even Craig saying like, hey, I didn't expect to be like the submissive person in a relationship, is him kind of almost realizing like, yeah, I didn't expect this either. Like, I don't even like this part about me, but it's just like she plays that role so well. She's confident in that role. And he's kind of stuck playing this like, hey, are you going to call me? Because he knows that Paige is just Paige never does that. Like Paige doesn't give Craig an opportunity to be, like the man in the relationship. And not that she should do anything differently. It's just like sometimes I think men sometimes feel like they play one or two roles. Either they're the asshole or they're this kind of the bitch. It's just like, either like, I need you to like be and stand up and I need you to take charge. But when he does, when he does, it's like, why are you being such a fucking asshole sometimes? And then, and then when you want him to take a bad seat, it's just like, man, stand up and be a fucking man or something. It's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, which one do you want me to, Abe's not, he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Dude,
Abe knows what you're talking about.
I think it happens a lot though.
So ultimately with Paige and Craig, I mean, I think it's just, they just weren't compatible. Like, I honestly thought Craig at their Southern Charm reunion finally said something that, really showed real growth, which is him just acknowledging that, like, I think he loved the idea of their relationship, especially towards the end. He has the benefit of watching some of these like clips back and some of these things that we all get to see. And he's forced to like acknowledge that, like, you know what, maybe we weren't as in love as I thought we were. Maybe I wasn't even as in love as I thought I was. And maybe we're just not supposed to be together. And you see him kind of slowly accepting that. What was jarring for me watching the Southern Charm reunion is the flashback of like Craig when he like first got on this show. And like Craig, when he first got casted on Southern Charm, looks like any guy who like played the like, if you ever watched Law and Order and it was always about like a rich family and then some rich like bad kid who was like in charge of like a fraternity, killed someone and embezzled money, but he played like the goody two shoe. Craig, that's what Craig looks like season 1 of Southern Charm. He looks like you do not trust that guy.
He could have been on White Lotus.
Like, yes.
No, he looks like a White Lotus character.
Now. He really changed. He looks great.
No, he
has aged very gracefully.
Very well.
Yeah, like a fine wine.
Yeah.
All right, calm down, Erin.
Shep less so much. The young Shep looks like a very tall, handsome Michael Cera.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then
Shep is cute.
He's fine, but like,
I think they're all great.
He was cuter.
Them. I like those boys.
I think Craig has aged better and Shep has aged worse.
Probably.
What did you think of Craig and Austin's kind of Austin being like, hey, this is what I needed from you. This is how I felt you were treating me, that you were like up on this higher level than me and you looked down on me. And Craig's like, well, if you think that way of me, then we shouldn't be friends. Instead of being like,
I tend to agree with Austin.
Okay.
Like Austin's rationale, I tend to agree with, I think. Just like, I think if I were like really good friends with someone on that show, he'd probably be one of them. He just seems like kind of a rational, normal-ish guy. Craig, it seems like he was just like trying to defend himself a little bit. I don't think he actually didn't want to be friends with him. It was just his defense mechanism.
Right.
But, a little bit immature. Probably.
I kind of get Craig's point of view a little bit. I mean, he's certainly rough around the edges, and he might be like when all your friends are nicely saying you're an embellisher or an exaggerator. It's just like maybe you're a liar.
Well, I've been around an exaggerator and embellisher. If you guys watched our show, and there's a fine line. It can get really tricky when you're around somebody who's saying things that, and I don't know that Craig is or isn't. I'm just saying that when you're not accurate, especially on TV, it's really tricky because it can be like you could say something that's a life ruiner. How is that just not lying?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like, because sometimes you tell a story and you want to like make it a little, like ramp it up a little and make it a little funnier. I mean, I sometimes do that when I'm telling a story. It's like, and then it took hours instead of maybe, I don't know,
5 minutes.
An hour,
Yeah, but like when you get called out for that, you're like, like really hours? Like, well, no, I mean, it just felt like a couple hours. Where Craig seems the type of guy who's like, no, it was like 5.5. I have it marked down. It was like 5 hours and 27 minutes, and it's just like, that's not embellishing. That's lying. That's adding context.
Well, that's why. Yeah. It's tricky.
So Bryn does that
and
a lot?
especially on TV. Oh my God, Bryn is like the master embellisher of all time. And she's really good at it. And by the way, I am convinced by her time and time again. And it's tricky. It's very hard to like navigate, especially on a show.
Where I understand Craig's point of view, though, it's just like when you're in this stage of life, you're kind of middle age, right? Late 20s, early 30s, 40s for some people. And
how old your middle age was that, Erin?
Yeah, depends. I guess it depends on who you are. Well, 40s. I mean, not really.
I feel like 50s
midlife
are
crisis joke, and she's like, "You're not having a midlife crisis. That's when you're 50." I'm like, "No, midlife crisis is like you could have on your 40s."
Yeah, Depends on when you die. You know, maybe he knows.
You're 40, but you're 41. That's like not midlife, is it?
Early midlife.
Well, what's the average lifespan?
I don't know.
we're gonna live.
Until 100,
we're gonna be
so.
immortal because we're gonna be morphed into robots anyway. So for us,
Here we go. Let's not start this. Let's not open this door. Let's not open this door. Abe. Can of worms with the robot talk. When Abe and I first met, his like pickup line was how we're going to all turn into robots. I have no idea why I continued to see him after that.
It worked on you?
I don't know.
I
It
guess.
worked.
I was like, oh,
4
weirdo.
kids in.
This is good. Big difference than what I've been around.
Average lifespan.
It says average lifespan is around 72 years worldwide, with women living longer than men.
What about Americans?
Probably less.
Yeah.
Well, then we're past middle age if it's 72, Erin.
77.43 years.
So technically 40 is past middle age.
That's insane. What about New Yorkers?
That's
There should be
Yeah.
I mean, even
there
then.
should be a
Anyway, what I was saying is it's like, you know, when you're the person who like is getting their shit together, you know, and you get your shit together faster than some of your other friends, no one likes that. You know what I'm saying? They're very resistant to you making yourself better. And then your friends will always say things like, you think you're better than us. And honestly, the truth is when you're the one who's like drinking less or just eating right or just kind of like getting your shit together, you do feel a little bit better than the people who aren't. You know what I'm saying? Because you're actually making meaningful changes. You're putting in the work. And maybe you're going to therapy. Maybe you're waking up early. Maybe you're saying no to whatever it is that you usually say yes to that makes you feel worse, not better, right? You know, and so like you're proud of yourself. Like it takes a lot of work to do this shit. So like by nature, you kind of tend to feel a little bit more superior to your peers, and your friends actually feel that because they actually are envious of the improvements you're making in their life that they're not ready to make. And so like there's always like this weird thing where people are just like, well, you think you're better than us. And you know, and you want to be like, well, yeah, yes, I am. I'm actually right now being better than you are. So like, you know, and I feel like Craig's in this period right now where he sees Austin and Shep, and Craig, you know, despite his embellishing or whatever, is cleaning his shit up. And like he's, you know, focusing on his career, and Shep still has like his baseball caps from college decorating his living room, and Austin is still like focused on going out and partying. And it's just like, I'm just not at this level anymore. And when it comes to that, I'm very team Craig, and I'm very like, I don't think Craig needs to like apologize or bring himself to his friend's level to like, because they're not ready to grow up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
What's interesting is, you know, when you get older and that starts to happen with certain friends, and then, you know, it's a shitty thing to think about, but sometimes you need to change the people you actually spend time with if they're keeping you back.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you are dulling yourself unnecessarily. And it's like, you know, surround yourself with people who are making those same healthy choices in life and all the other things. So it's a weird thing when it starts happening.
Yeah. And sometimes you actually have to like, have a little like friend breakups. I've done that with friends where you just like, you grow apart, and sometimes you grow back together when they like figure their shit out. But you're just like, until then, you're just like, I don't know, I'm not that person anymore.
And it doesn't even mean that you don't have to be friends with those people. It's just the time, like, you know, your time is more valuable when you're older because it's more limited. So just who you choose to actually spend time with, you can still be friends with whoever, but it's the time spending, I think, that becomes the determining factor.
It was wild to see half of the group say they're terrified of Craig.
Yeah, that was weird.
Why?
I don't think he's terrifying.
Right? Austin says he's terrified of Craig
that.
sometimes, and the group agrees.
Like, what does that even
was
mean?
weird. That was stupid.
I've had
That was
people say
dumb.
they're scared of me. So that like I think that's just is stupid.
That was really silly.
From past seasons, though, he does have some sort of anger management issues in the way that he like flips on people. I could see how he could be somebody that you don't want to upset because you don't know what's going to happen next.
But have we seen him blow up like that recently? Like, is that what we have?
What's his sign?
They need to go on a Housewives
let's
show
see.
if they think that's blowing up.
Yeah. Granted, he did have a problem with Adderall as well. So like that was like a couple of the big blowouts that he's had in the past.
I didn't get the impression that that's what they were referring to when they said they were scared of him. Like, I didn't get the impression, and you've watched the show longer than I have, Sierra, but I didn't get the impression it was like some sort of like, they're afraid of his like physical outburst, and that his like reacted.
Well, Andy
it was more
did
like,
bring up his temper and was like, you do have a bet. And he was like, that's something I'm trying to work on.
Oh, I took it more of like his ability to manipulate or deceit or lie or to like, get revenge on people, his enemies or whatever, where it was more like he's more calculated. I took it that way.
He doesn't really do revenge as much as he cuts people off.
He's also an Aquarius.
I'm gonna say Taurus, but
Do you know a lot about
What'd you say,
horoscopes?
Sierra, about cutting people off?
I said he's not one really for revenge, as he is like he'll cut people off and like make it very much like, you are not my friend, I do not speak with you. And maybe that's something to where people are like, well, you don't really give us an opportunity to work through a problem. It's just kind of either you're on my side or you're not. So I felt like that was kind of more what they were talking about. Like there's no way of confronting him when he's in the wrong. He'll just cut them off.
See, but if that's the case, I'm more team Craig. Because that's basically saying, I don't like that you're really good at enforcing your boundaries. Like whether we agree or disagree with Craig's boundaries, he is very good at just being like, this is how I think and feel, and I'm going to stand by it, and I'm going to own it. And like, you don't have to like it. I'm not asking for your permission. This is just how I'm going to operate. A lot of people don't have that follow through. They don't have that like resolve to like have people be upset with him, right? Because like the opposite of like enforcing a boundary is being the people pleaser, right? Like, and I think Austin and Shep are like notorious people pleasers. They're like the guys who like everyone wants to have fun around. Let's have a good time. And I think they're very uncomfortable with people like Craig, who are just like, if I don't like it, if it's not going to be this way, I'm out. But that's not like something to be scared of. That's just because you're uncomfortable, their ability to like say no to you.
Yeah, I think they were saying that they're terrified of his temper.
Mm.
Yeah, because Andy did point that out. Switching to Summer House, do you feel like Lexi has a right to be mad at Jesse for the toe suck? The 37-minute toe suck that he joined in.
The what?
He joined in on a threesome.
Can you guys give
37.
can you give quick backstory?
Well, so Summer House. There's a lot of partying going on, and Jesse Salomon, there's two household fuckboys, Jesse and West. Last year, one of the fuckboys attempted at having a girlfriend. It went as well as you thought it might. This season, the other fuckboy is attempting to be a boyfriend, and he walked into a room where their other housemate was having a threesome with two ladies. He seemed to be under the influence when he walked into said room, and what we've learned from this moment is that apparently someone, I believe it was a lady, sucked Jesse's toe, and only sucked his toe he was in there for 37 minutes. So maybe he was just watching. I don't know, maybe they took a timeout from said threesome and just like started chatting about like the night. That's a long fucking...
That's very likely.
I mean,
he didn't tell his girlfriend.
I'm going to defend Jesse, which I think is probably surprising. But I feel like what happened to him, and I think he's like such a sweet guy just based on the show. But I think what happened to him was he got excited. He liked her. He kind of like fell into it. But like the guy just cleared himself from having testicular cancer the summer before. Like he wants to be free and happy and have fun. Like I almost feel like he just kind of got kind of stuck. Not that she got him stuck, but it just kind of happened that he got in this relationship, but he almost like he was conflicted, and maybe he didn't really want to be in a relationship because he wanted to have fun. I mean, that runs a toll on you, being so worried about having cancer and it coming back. And now he's at the 5-year mark, and like, I don't know. I kind of feel for him. I know what he did was wrong.
I think if you beat cancer for the next year, short of you killing someone or doing something illegal,
you're allowed to do whatever you want.
You kind of get to do whatever you want, man. And just be like, I don't know, man. I thought I was dying a year and a half ago. Fuck it. And you're just like, yeah, I guess, honestly.
Like, live your life, get your toe sucked. And like, and he was almost trying to please her because she was like, I'm very jealous and I want to be exclusive and da-da-da. And it seemed like he liked her so much he didn't want to say no, but you could see he didn't really want to do that, which I wouldn't want to do that either.
I think even when he introduced her to his parents and in his like ITM, he was like, yeah, I didn't really want to do that, but I knew it meant a lot to her or something. And it was like, okay, you're doing a lot that you don't want to do.
Yeah. And so it was like, I mean, it's not right, but it's like you kind of get it.
Lexi is on her TikTok bad
she?
bitch lip syncing to like fuck that man songs.
Oh, is she?
She's
Yeah.
Ooh.
so they're not together.
It does not
Season
appear so. There's a lot
I don't know
of getting
anything
ready
about
makeup
that.
transitions to like, you thought I was your girl? Well, fuck you.
Well,
know.
one of my favorite things
Ooh.
online right now, especially in the reality TV space, is the attempt at the Ariana Madix treatment.
What is that?
Well, I mean, you know, post scandal.
Like you're saying Jesse's going to get that
like
treatment?
to reap the benefits.
There's a lot to be
Oh.
gained career wise if you are seen
sure.
as the
scorned woman, Abe, you should
in
scorn
the
me.
reality
Can you
TV
scorn?
space. Rachel Kirkconnell is currently benefiting from the same movement, right? And it's
Who's that?
She's from Bachelor Nation. She
Okay.
recently broke up with former Bachelor Matt James, and I don't know, he broke up with her in a way that maybe lacked a little tact, certainly deserved some criticism. Ultimately, they broke up, whatever.
I think
And
eventually she will come out with a lot of stories of how he treated her in that relationship. But in her initial, like, we broke up interview, it was very much just like, yeah, you know, he was kind of like mean to me sometimes, but like he just broke up with me. And then I got on an airplane and then landed to like him posting it to social media. And
like he announced it without her knowing while she was on a plane before, like she, you know, so that was the big crime. And,
Right.
you know,
right.
and definitely he deserves
Okay.
an apology, but
Not the worst thing in the world.
no, but, you know, whenever the internet grabs a hold of something, you know, sometimes
It's
they
wild.
get triggered by something. And it's just always, I'm right now, you see, like, especially in reality TV, where there's like this upcoming breakup and someone, you know, you think someone's going to look a certain way. And Lexi is right now on the trying to,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, well, Sierra had it a little bit from
Capitalize.
West last season, right? You know, Bravo World rarely rallied behind Sierra when, you know, with her and West breaking up. So I think she's hoping for the same treatment. I think, unfortunately for Lexi, she didn't like account for beating cancer. And it was just
Right.
like, you know, you're not going to get the Ariana you know, if Tom Sandoval had just beaten cancer,
I also think it feels different, Sierra and Lexi, the situation.
why?
Like Sierra clearly really liked West, and he just I don't think he did anything really wrong. I don't know. I don't want to
I don't think
like,
so
say
either,
anything.
honestly. I think she just has
I mean,
hurt
he just-
feelings.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he could have been a little like more gentle in the press after. But it seems like she just really liked him and it just didn't work out. But in this case, this just feels like a really fast relationship that came kind of out of nowhere and doesn't really even make any sense to me. And like all of a sudden, week 2, they were like getting married. Like none of it makes sense. Sierra and West like felt like a real relationship. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? This one didn't.
I do think it was you know, he went out of his way to like call her and let her know that everyone in the house thinks that he was flirting with Sierra, but he just wants to like let her know if she hears that it's not true, that they're brother and sister. But he did leave out that he got his toe sucked. And to
I don't think
Lexi's
that's a big
point,
deal.
she was like, if you
Do
didn't
you?
think it was a
Said
big
it.
deal, or if you didn't think it was
Right.
weird, you would have told
Right.
me.
Which is an
You
excellent
would have
point.
told me.
Yeah.
That is a good
Yeah.
point.
But on the flip side, he could have just felt weird about it and not said because of that. But like the whole, I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this,
The whole
Erin, as
thing is
someone who
weird.
is a Bravo celebrity herself. There was a line where Jesse's talking to the producers, right? And the Bravo gives a little BTS, like sometimes they show that conversation. And Jesse is basically saying, like, it's toe sucking. It's not sexual. It wasn't a big deal. I was fucking around, whatever. Like, I think as a guy, you do know that like sometimes you realize you're like, I'm being a fuck. This is not sexual, right? Whether the optics look good or not, like I get what Jesse was saying in that moment, but he said, I don't want this to be a thing. And I, as a human being, I thought I laughed because I was just like, what a hilarious line for like any guy to say, you know, like I cheated on my wife, but I don't want this to be a thing, you know, like the way he said it. But I want to know from your point of view, Erin, to me, that actually sounded like a Bravo,
On the show.
like a
Yeah.
show line where you're like Jesse, the talent, was talking to the producer saying, guys, I'm not into this storyline. You're forcing this storyline. It's not a thing. I don't want this to be a thing. And I felt like they used that against him in that moment.
Well, that's
to
you
make
don't
it
say those words.
No, I know.
The
but
minute
like,
you say those words, they're like, it's a thing now, you know? But I agree with you. That sounds like something that he's saying about the show. Like, I feel like I've said that before. And the minute I said that, I was like, fuck, this is going to be a thing.
No, I know. Because the
And
way
it
they
was.
air it, I was like, well, sorry, Jesse, you don't get to decide what isn't a thing when it relates to your actions. But like, I can totally understand, like, in that moment where, you know, he's just like, guys, I'm down to like play along. I'm down to give you storylines, but I'm not down for you guys to make this a thing. This is stupid. And I was curious what you thought. Yeah.
I agree with you. That sounds exactly like something we would all say, you know, season 1.
Do you watch any other Real Housewives franchises?
I dabble. I love Miami. It's actually like my favorite, which is so random. Beverly Hills, I kind of fell off this season.
Yeah, it's a little boring.
Garcelle just left Beverly Hills.
I saw that and I love her so much.
There was
such
a
bummer.
producer who was talking about Garcelle's exit and he mentioned how proud he was of her. And you see comments like this online all the time for various, you know, actors or reality TV stars. But this particular producer talked about how, you know, he really like judges obviously like someone's character or who they are as a person by like how like the crew enjoyed working with various talent. And he talked about how when they were shooting with Garcelle, crew was always ecstatic and that she was always just really wonderful and gracious, and how like that was different from some of the other castmates on Beverly Hills. From your point of view, are there some people from the RHONY franchise who are more pleasant to production than others?
Yeah, of course.
You can't name any?
Who are? I mean,
give me the good ones.
I'm one of the good ones.
Okay.
Sai is one of the good ones. Uba's good, but she tends to be like on her own timeline, which is challenging.
Okay, so slightly inconsiderate with her timing.
Yeah, Jessel also, I think, is kind of like on her own timeline. Okay. But I think they like all, I mean, I think Jenna's pretty easy to work with. Raquel, I know they loved. I know they loved Brynn, but I heard that it was challenging sometimes. I don't know. I think you can kind of watch the show and make decisions that way on who was easy and who was not. But I will say about Beverly Hills, I like hung out with Garcelle many times, and she's really, that's so true, because she is such an awesome person and like just fun to be around and easy to talk to. And I can only imagine that was a big loss for them, because she's awesome. And I think she adds a lot to the show. So it's a bummer.
It did feel like, I don't know why I felt this, because, you know, she's been my girl this season, but it felt like this producer wanted to say that Dorit was like mean. It just, I don't know. I'm basing this off nothing, but I don't know. When he was saying how Garcelle was so kind to the crew, it just felt like he wanted to like throw Dorit under the bus, but I could be wrong.
Really?
I could be totally wrong. That's maybe me projecting. I don't know.
I'm not going to say anything about Dorit, because we had like a weird thing at BravoCon, and now we're like, we DM, and I would love to support like another Israeli on Bravo. That's like very uncommon. So
you guys got in a fight at BravoCon?
We didn't get into a fight. She and I had been on like these Zooms. We were part of this like subgroup on Bravo. We had been on some of these Zooms and we were talking, and we knew each other, and we were backstage about to go on for like photo ops at BravoCon with fans. And she was there with Kyle, and I was like excited to see her because we had known each other on Zoom. I'm just like a friendly person. Like, I'm a hugger. I love chatting with people. I'm social. So I was like, hi, like, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I was met with such a cold, like, I don't know, demeanor that I was taken aback. That being said, she's said since then that she was worried about going on stage. It was like right after the robbery. So water under the bridge. She's been very sweet since. I just haven't I've hung out with a lot of the Beverly Hills ladies, like tons of them. We've gone to dinner. We're friends, and they're all so awesome. I've just never hung out with Dorit, so I don't really know.
You're also very close with Lindsay Hubbard. Do you think she would join RHONY?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't know.
She just
I love
know.
Lindsay. I'm so happy for her. her life is like totally different.
Have you
now.
had
It's
any
really amazing.
conversations with Lindsay about it? Like when you say you don't know, like is that like an I don't know because you do know? You can have to say you have to shrug your shoulders like I'm sworn to secrecy. I don't know. Have you spoken with Lindsay about
I
it?
don't. I think she's open. I
What
don't
makes
know
you
what
think
will
that?
come of it because
Have you talked to her about it?
I mean, we talk all the time. We talk. We talk.
Well, what do you? I mean,
Let's
you're
just
not a
leave it
producer.
there.
It's not like it's your decision. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if that they think that would fit or not.
Do you think it would fit?
The network doesn't tell us anything. Do I think she would fit? I think she'd be fun. I actually do. I think it'd be really interesting to see her come from a Bravo show into our show. I mean, what a different world.
I think you
Completely
guys kind of
different.
need it. You guys need a little.
She's got the personality for a housewife, I think.
Listen, I don't know if this happened to you guys, but I am in my era of like, I just want to party and have fun. I mean, I've been pregnant 4 fucking times. I'm 37 years old. I'm not 100.
Yeah.
I want to have so much fun. I'm like, I'm 2 weeks out, so I need to wait a little bit, but I am like ready to party.
How
like,
old were you when you had your first?
I got pregnant. I was 27 or 28, which is young. Yeah. But you see, for us, and this is something we talk about on our podcast, we didn't change our lives. Like that wasn't, we continued to party. We continued to be young people. We continued to work. We continued to do all the things we were doing before. We just decided to have a kid and kind of spontaneously, but at this point, like, I just want to have fun. So I'm very excited about the prospect of having someone that's my age, that wants to that still has that in them, that wants to have fun with me, maybe have a couple drinks, which I think we were lacking. And just kind of like be a little loose, Yeah,
that's why I feel like you guys could use a little Lindsay Hubbard because like in this past episode of Summer House, it was like, we're really happy for Carl. He's having his launch party for his non-alcoholic bar, which everyone's really supportive. And then you have Lindsay being like, honestly, like, where's the fucking bar? This is just a party to announce a bar. And like, I want type of energy at RHONY when like one of you ladies are like having some sort of event and it's all flashy and it's for the show. And Lindsay to just be like, what is even going on? And like to start like just question, give us some like hardcore like Lindsay Hubbard, like this is bullshit. Because I was kind of with Lindsay on that one. I mean, listen, when it comes to like Hollywood or tech startups or whatever, it's a lot of like show and then tell type of thing. You have the launch party, you get the interest, whatever, you create the buzz, and then you actually create or make the product. But I've done both. I prefer the actually just like show them you can actually do the thing rather than talking about the thing, where it's like with Carl, like, I'm really happy for him. I'm glad he's picking himself back up. I'm glad he's dating. I'm glad he's sober. He's making a lot of self-improvements, but like, where's the bar, And I wouldn't be, if I'm his ex, like Lindsay was, I would have the same type of reaction. Like I'm happy for him, but like, he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah. I like her directness. I will not lie. I do like it a lot. And she's fun, which I also think is great.
She is fun and she is direct. I'm rooting for it.
What about you, Abe? Are you pro or not pro Lindsay Hubbard coming to the season of RHONY?
Honestly, I don't know her that well. Okay. I mean, Erin's playing with her. I do agree that we need a little shake up as far as the energy and make it a little bit more fun and light and maybe chaotic, but not in a dark way. So I'm all for that.
I think we're going on a double date, Abe, FYI.
Oh.
Cute.
So, yeah.
Aaron just sends me calendar invites to show up at places.
He has no idea what's happening any day of the week.
Love. That's so fun.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining the show. Congratulations on your 4th child. Very excited for you both. And just wishing you guys nothing but the best.
Thanks. You guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I don't know. I'm hoping this Lindsay to RHONY thing happens. It needs to happen. She just can't be hiding in the summer house room for much longer.
Since we're talking about housewives, let's quickly get into some Atlanta.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was rough.
She had posters. They weren't sheets of paper.
And she pulled them out one by one.
They were
yeah.
blown up.
It's like the levels.
I think Cynthia Bailey has said it the best way, where she was like, Kenya, this is like a lower version of you that I don't know. And like, that was wrong.
I'm like, I think it's both. Like, it's all wrong. But yeah, the internet is back and forth with like, it's crazy that like Bravo kicked Kenya off for this, but then you didn't have any repercussions for Brittany or Britt threatening having a gun on her. And
Whips and
Well,
pistols.
I didn't stop her
listen,
from
yeah.
filming.
Yeah, add the show element to it, right? Like just the whole story, like outside of like what we're watching, right? Like there's definitely some gaps for sure. Like gap 1, these were on poster boards and like neatly like tucked away for the right time for Kenya to bring them out, you know? So like clearly she planned on this. And
Which
they
is
made
Kenya
it seem like Kenya's response was a reaction to like Britt showing up to her party uninvited and kind of crashing the party, and that's why she almost seemed like triggered by it. Like that's how it came across to me. But like, where were any of these producers when she brought in poster size like pictures of these sexual acts that were going to be so egregious that they were going to fire Kenya from it? Like, did no one catch wind of it? Did no one see this? Like, you know what I'm saying? For everyone to act like this was like just kind of happened so fast that they didn't realize it, and it was like kind of almost too late after the fact, because that's kind of how it's shot, right? Like it was just like, oh, she did this. We can't believe she did this shit. We can't stand by this. We have to fire her. But it's like she brought posters. Like
You're saying
you
that
know?
Kenya was scapegoated.
And they were
He's
tucked
saying
away.
it's not inconspicuous.
Like, no
Yeah.
one saw
Yeah.
this. No one was like, oh, you brought posters. Can I, can I grab these from you? What are these? No
Yeah.
one took a peek.
Even Shamia said, like, all of us have seen these photos and videos, but it's like the second you decide to bring it up in the group or on screen is like another level.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like people
I-
knew these existed.
Yeah, the
Like,
argument
blogs
that
have
these
posted
are
them.
these are
Mhm.
photos that are like available for anyone who knows how to find them online is a bullshit argument. Like what Kenya did was terrible, like horrible, like, and she deserves to absolutely be fired for this. Like, fine, take the threat as a real threat. She did threaten her. I get it. But like, this isn't a threat. This is like Kenya did it. She didn't say it would be like the equivalent is Kenya like just talking about the videos or photos that are available for people to find and be like, well, you've done this and you used to like, oh, weren't we all kind of hoes, at some point in our life? Most of us. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Kelly said the same thing.
Who is this hoe?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, if the worst thing that you can find is someone being a hoe back in the day,
If this situation didn't happen, I feel like the whole Bravo sphere would be like strongly against Brit, which is the interesting situation.
Yeah.
of course,
Well,
because
yeah.
like you should not be carrying a gun and threaten said person with the gun. But like when you bring a poster size pictures,
Yeah, like you can bring quote unquote receipts, but like, yeah, you didn't need to print out a poster size image of
that was
what
terrible.
you're discussing or what you're talking
The
about.
way-
to
Yeah.
shame
It's
her.
like
yeah,
they weren't equal,
No,
Yeah.
no, not a like potential threat in your life while you're being like heated and whatnot, and something that could be like talked out and discussed. It's like you shamed her in front of an entire audience of people.
and let's be clear, like Kenya's response was based off of her feeling disrespected. It was about, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't about like her being scared for her life. It wasn't about her being, worried. It was the disrespect of being threatened by a gun. And so her response to being disrespected was to disrespect Brit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why what makes it so horrific and so bad is because like her argument is like, oh, you threatened me with a gun. And again, terrible. You shouldn't do that. And if that's all that happened, you're right. We would all be on Team Kenya. But it wasn't like she was worried or scared. She just felt disrespected. And her response to that disrespect was to like go as low as possible and not just even talk about them, but bringing them up so that everyone could see at a party, in front of her peers, in front of her community, in front of her friend. It was nasty. It was like
No,
basically Kenya just showed there's no, I will go as low as I have to. It won't
She goes
matter.
low, yeah.
yeah, I
And
have to agree with that too, because I'm like, the thing is that it's like if we're talking about questioning your safety, then like that's when you talk to production. You don't go and like print off something to like ignite put more fuel on the fire, essentially.
I think it's an element of both, because I mean, she even said like she only knew this person for like 2 weeks at this point, and like the impression she's getting now is that she's carrying weapons to potentially like backlash on her. And I'm not saying this as a way to justify.
Justin, if you were afraid of somebody and that person you thought had a weapon of any kind and you were legitimately afraid of them, your response would be to embarrass them publicly?
Well, she said she went to production and told it, and nobody said anything, and still she was being invited to events. So, like, in her defense,
response was then to trigger this person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying that there could be an element of feeling unsafe because they all acknowledged it in the moment.
Kenya's actions proved without a shadow of a doubt that she did not feel unsafe. That is not the actions of a person who feels afraid of someone. Like, you don't antagonize that person. You don't try to trigger them. You certainly don't try to embarrass them. You don't try to ruin their life. If you are actually afraid of that person, that is how you put yourself in a dangerous situation. So, like, unless Kenya's not stupid, we know that she wasn't scared. Her actions told us this. It's like, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to guess. We know. Because if you're actually scared, and maybe she went to production, but that response is not the response of a person who is in any way afraid of this person.
I wish that Britt would have actually tried to like reach out to Kenya in a different way than like showing up at the event with flowers, and like maybe this whole thing could have been diffused. But it just kind of seems like everybody's trying to show up in each other's faces, but being like, no, I'm so sorry. And then obviously Kenya ignored her, which therefore Kenya obviously went back, started putting on makeup. So she knew what she was going to do next.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate because it sounds like Britt said a lot of things in the heat of the moment that she didn't mean and wanted to come to terms with Kenya. And it sounds like Kenya already had in her mind that this woman is not okay and she needs to go. So I think that was Kenya's way of trying to force Britt's hand, that being like, you want to stay in this group? Well, this is what's going to happen, or like whatever kind of, but neither thing is justified by either one's actions. If anything, it's just both sides.
Was Britt reprimanded at all? Like, was that investigated?
It doesn't feel like it.
Her side of it isn't very public. We only know when Kenya did her interview and was saying, like, I'm still on payroll with them. Like, Bravo still understands me. Andy has talked to me. But we just know that Brittany's going to address it of, like, now I have to address revenge porn when, like, I wasn't planning on doing that.
Yeah.
That's her storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just telling by all the other housewives by the end of it, just were like, walked out. Portia was like, turn the camera off on me.
Yeah.
I don't even want it to be known that I was at this event.
That's why Cynthia, I think, handled it the best, being like, this is a low that I've never seen.
She said, I really hate that you let this end this way. I think you're bigger than this, and I think you're better than this.
Exactly.
But then she also just did an interview saying that like she hasn't talked to Kenya since this whole event happened. So
and Kenya is online really trying to still paint herself as the victim.
Yeah. By all means, I mean, she's been cut out of most of the season. I think she's not going to be featured after this.
She doesn't have a tagline this season, so.
I mean, I'm sure she's trying to get her side out of the story. It sounds like she's on pause, though, that she wasn't fully fired.
That's what she's implied, and that's what the text said on this episode as well.
But her side of the story is, we know her side of the story, right? Like,
yeah, but she's coming for people trying to like justify either people not standing up for her anymore, or that like she's trying to say that she was in the right for what she did, and a lot of the time, and it's just kind of hard to argue that in the sense that
no,
like,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly. I mean, she came for Cynthia, I think even yesterday or something, and used an old clip of Nene saying like talking about her. So she's trying to use other people's quotes and whatnot to justify her feeling of being like isolated or not being heard or not like given an opportunity to stand up for herself. But again,
so has she's
gone with the wind?
Has she come out at all and been like, well, I don't, like my actions were wrong and uncalled for. Yes, I have a problem with what Britt did, and yes, that's a separate issue. I hope that that still needs to be dealt with, and it hasn't been dealt with to my liking, and blah blah blah. But I should not have done this. I should not have put out these photos. Has she said anything remotely like that?
She did. I mean, the most recent thing she said was basically like, I went too far. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, they all speak in like vague. They all speak in vague terms, so nobody's fully owning up to anything. But she did acknowledge she went too far.
That's wild. I mean, it was the poster boards were absolutely wild. But I don't know. It's hard for me to think that she's really seen the errors of her ways while simultaneously see her so loud, painting herself as the victim in the situation online.
She said, hindsight is always 50-50. If I could do it all over again, I believe the photos were very distasteful and I elevated the situation. I've elevated situations before and I've taken full accountability for things that I've done. But it doesn't sound like she's saying sorry to Britt for her actions. She's saying that she understands that, like,
sorry for what I've done, not sorry to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she's like posting pictures of like justice for Kenya Moore.
Kenya.
It's crazy.
That was a tweet that has just happened.
She has been trending as the season's airing, so
I would imagine.
I think in her perspective,
that is one benefit of doing what she did. You will trend.
And I also agree with Cynthia too, where it's just kind of like, it's unfortunate because Kenya worked really hard to try to get this hair spa salon open, and letting somebody's one comment get to you and making your entire event trying to shame this one woman, where it's like you should have been celebrating what you've accomplished. It's just really unfortunate.
It was a wild
watching
choice.
women
At
tear
your
other women
event,
down.
you did this.
Right? This should be about you and celebrating like what you've come to. Have this conversation at a dinner, have this at somebody's house, and like, even then, does it make it okay? No, but I'm just like, at your salon opening where I'm like, this should have been a really big moment for you and for success, and
like,
now
could
you
you
not only
imagine, like,
tarnished
at your
the
wedding,
opening.
You're at your wedding, you're up at the aisle, you're doing your vows, and then like you got in a fight with like someone at the wedding the week before. Maybe it's even a friend of a friend. It's your brother's girlfriend or something you fucking hate or whatever, and you stop the wedding to like just publicly and call them out and embarrass them, because that is exactly what Kenya did. I mean, like, you know, this event probably had as much meaning as like a wedding does to some people. You know, like, it's her business, it's all about her. It's like she's the center of attention. It's her day, and she chooses to like ruin that by like just being unbelievably messy and petty.
100%. Nobody's talking about her like hair treatments or whatever's going on. Anybody that's talking about this day is most likely talking about this Britt and Kenya situation. So
Wow.
It's really unfortunate for her.
All right. Well, up next, we have Christina Hendricks talking about Good American Family and her love for all things Housewives in Bravo. That's up next.
Planning a trip this year? Imagine how much more enriching your travels will be when you can speak the language. Rosetta Stone gives you the confidence to connect with locals and experience cultures more authentically. My aunt and cousins have lived in Spain for all of my life and majority of my aunt's life, and they are fluent in Spanish. And I was like, this is embarrassing. I need to be able to communicate with my family members in their language. So I downloaded Rosetta Stone. The way that they're able to start with words, build to phrases, and then progress to full sentences makes it so easy to pick up the language. They're designed for long-term retention, so what you learn will stick with you. They also perfect your punctuation, which I feel like was hard for me. You know, they have a lot of rolling R's, and that was just hard for me to really get the pronunciation down. But Rosetta Stone has the built-in true accent speech recognition technology, provides real-time feedback, helping you sound more natural. You can learn anytime, anywhere. Rosetta Stone fits your lifestyle with flexible and on-the-go learning. Access lessons from your desktop or mobile app, whether you have 5 minutes or an hour. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. The Viall Falls listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit www.rosettastone.com/VIALL to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/VIALL and start learning today.
All you dog lovers out there, are you feeding your dogs healthy, good food? Well, I hope so, because you know how much you love your dogs, and we all want our dogs to be around as long as possible, and what you feed them matters. Sundays is fresh dog food made from a short list of human-grade ingredients. Sundays was co-founded by Dr. Tori Waxman, a practicing veterinarian who tests and formulates every version of each recipe. Sundays contains 90% meat, 10% superfoods, and 0 synthetic nutrients or artificial ingredients. Dog parents report noticeable health improvements in their pups, including healthier fur, fresher breath, better poops, and even more energy after switching to Sundays. Sundays for Dogs is healthy dog food that is easy to store and serve. And plus, it shows up right to your door at your convenience. So when you start a Sunday subscription, you'll automatically get 20% off and free shipping on every reorder. Cancel and pause your subscription anytime. With our 100% satisfaction guarantee, every order ships right to your door, so you'll never worry about running out of dog food again. Get 40% off your first order at Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/VIALL or use code VIALL at checkout. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So excited.
Thank you.
We're huge fans.
How have you been? What's new?
Boy, been out promoting this show.
Sure.
Promoting a couple shows. So I've been going back and forth to London and Ireland and back here.
Wow.
Got married this year. Been doing some renovating. Have a little bit of a cold. How about you guys? What's up with you?
Wow, definitely not as busy as you have been at all.
Well, we did also get married this year.
Last year.
Well, we're in our first year.
Is it? Will this be your first anniversary
It will
or your
be.
second?
Our first anniversary.
Yeah, same with
yes.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're a week apart.
We are a week apart.
Yeah.
We've
And then
decided.
we are renovating,
Yeah.
remodeling,
We are.
kind of tearing it down.
You might have been busier than me, actually.
I do hear that you are into interior design, so I am excited to hear like your thoughts on like a few things. One being the
I'm
studio.
so
How are you
into it.
feeling about the studio? Does
I
it
love
feel
it.
warm?
Yes, it does. And I
Okay.
immediately noticed the pillows, and I really approve of the shade of green. Very, very nice.
Okay.
Very well done.
Nick was wanting to change behind him
Mm.
and keep this wall green and keep that wall curtain. And I
Well-
was like, that feels like I was like the symmetry of the two curtains.
You know those frame TVs that have with
Yeah.
like art? And
Yep.
You can also put like logos behind it.
Uh-huh.
Get some signage behind here. Get rid of the curtain, which is like nice, but like it's just a curtain. And how do we do that while incorporating this? Because that would be a real bugaboo to repaint or redo.
Right, because you want to have a bit of branding behind you. Is that what you want to?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Mhm.
Listen, I think more is more.
Oh.
So I don't mind a little
More is more.
adding texture and
Okay.
prints with different things. I think you can go a little crazy. Maximalism's in.
Maximalism. We got the stamp of approval.
Okay.
I got
Sounds
the stamp of approval.
I know I've been
Sounds
against
like.
you for so long.
Forward ho.
Since we're just staying on interior design, should we just get her input on
You guys are going to do your farmhouse,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
The lake house.
So
Lake
we're
house.
doing
I'm sorry, lake house.
Yeah,
Lake
we're
house.
I
doing
saw the
lake
boots and I
house.
thought farm. Lake house,
We're
which is
doing
my
the lake
dream to have a
house.
lake house.
It's gonna be so beautiful once it's all done. Right now, it feels like it's like a pipe dream. You know, it's like sure, here's like what I've picked out. Who knows if it's gonna look
like they
good
just
together?
started reframing. So
You got
that's
time.
the stage that we're in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you going to lean into the lake house feel?
I think I want to lean into just the cozy texture pattern vibe and not so cabiny, but
Not like fish on the wall
yeah,
kind of
I don't
thing.
think I'll go that far, but I
Right.
do want it to feel very like warm and cozy because majority of the time it is winter there
Mhm.
in Wisconsin. So
Oh, I'm so
I
jealous that you get to
know.
start this project, Brush.
I know
It's going to
I'm
be
very
so much
excited.
fun. Call me if you want any
I
ideas
absolutely
or
It's a lot of
just,
fun.
you know.
Yeah.
What is like your go-to style?
I'm a bit eclectic. I would say
Yeah.
maximalism for sure. There's a little deco mixed with traditional, very whimsical, lots of
Mm.
pattern mixing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's fun.
lots of things about.
Yeah.
Lots of things to look at.
Are you like an antiquer, vintage hunting? Do you go to like flea markets and find the
I do. I go to less flea markets in Los Angeles because I think everyone really knows what they've got here.
yeah.
And at this point, I think most antique dealers are on Cherish or First Dibs
Mm-hmm.
or eBay. I'll oftentimes be out and about looking and I go, did you list this last week? I've already hearted it.
yeah.
So it sort of takes the groundwork out now because there's all these great sites. And I've
Mhm.
had pretty good luck with all of them too. Every once in a while something will arrive broken or it's not exactly what you imagine, but I'd say
Yeah.
a 90% success rate as far as like the image matching the expectation when it shows up,
I've just recently unlocked the buying the like vintage Turkish rugs or Persian rugs on Etsy
Oh,
from
sure.
Turkey.
Absolutely.
Like, from the source.
Yep.
So much like inexpensive.
Yep. I just got some gorgeous ones from India,
Yes.
one from Pakistan.
I'm like, you go
Yeah,
here and
and
it
all
is
from
so
Etsy.
marked up
Yep.
in LA because it's just like,
I know.
whatever. But I found
Etsy's
it on Etsy and I
a
was
major
like, this is
source for me.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff on there.
She got me into the rugs too. And we
Yeah.
walked because we were walking the streets in New York and we were like killing time and we popped into this really like cool rug place and there's this nice gentleman who was running the store, had all these wonderful stories. How much of they were true, or I don't know, he was just trying to sell some rugs. I don't know. But what he did teach us is how like when you buy like probably like a rug like this and you rub it like all these microfibers.
Mm.
But like when these old rugs, they're so old and kind of worn down, like none of that comes up. And it
Yeah,
seems
you
like
don't
it's
have
like
to deal with that.
better for you.
And there's somehow like that patina that they have, that age
yeah.
that just
Mhm.
a new rug just doesn't have.
Mhm.
It's just
Yes.
you know-
Part of it's kind of like faded and it's like the character about it. You just love it so much.
If you had a new rug and you spilled something on it, you'd be devastated. But then we go spend extra money to find a rug that looks like someone else already spilled something on it.
I will say, when it comes to these old Persian rugs, it's really easy to just take them outside and hose them down.
We've had like dogs have accidents on them, and Nick,
I'm just
going to
take it outside.
I saw some hack about someone taking something. Oh, I know what it was. I saw a hack where someone took it out in the snow, laid it out in the snow, rubbed it all down with snow, and then whisked it off with a broom afterwards, and it's supposed to clean it really well. I have not put this into action
like the
myself.
ice or something?
I mean, maybe it's just
like it freeze the stain or something,
or maybe it's just hosing it down like you, but not saturating it. Maybe it just
we'll certainly be able to try that.
Dries faster because you're not. Yeah.
No, there'll be plenty of
Next
snow.
thing you know, you've got all your rugs out in the snow. They're Hendricks. What did
our neighbors are like, help.
Your new project, Good American Family. We watched it. It's awesome. One, it's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
You're amazing in it. Really the whole cast. I mean, it's
really,
a
great cast.
It's a great cast, wonderful writing, great acting. First of all, how much of the story did you know before you were presented this opportunity of this project? I mean, because obviously it was like a national story. People got into it.
I mean, with as much information as there was out there, I hadn't heard of it, actually.
Oh, wow.
So my husband had, as soon as I brought it up to him, he was like, oh my gosh, this story is so wild. So my introduction was the script, actually. So I read the script first and I thought, this cannot be from a real news story. I mean, it just seems unfathomable that these things could have happened in someone's real life. So I wanted to be a part of it because it was such an interesting, intriguing story. And then I immediately dove in and watched the ID series and, did my research online. And
as an artist playing a role, do you feel less able or willing to form your own opinion as a fan of the story, or not necessarily a fan because obviously it's a bit of a tragic story, but just someone who's been fascinated by the story and kind of almost in a true crime way, just have opinions, talk with family or friends about it? Or do you try to distance yourself from that, when playing a character and doing
during the time?
This?
During the time of filming. Well, I also had a sort of interesting circumstances in that I got cast about 30 hours before I was supposed to be on set.
Oh my gosh.
So not only did I not know the story, I didn't have a lot of time with it.
God.
So in that amount of time, I read all the scripts. I watched everything there was of the ID story out there at the time. And I found any sort of interviews I could find with the characters, and then just sort of stopped at that point, locked into the script, and had to work on a dialect, with a different accent overnight. So I just immediately stuck to then what was on the page and in that story. Now, since then, I'm still following the story and I'm incredibly curious. But for our purposes and our storytelling, I just really stuck with what was on the page so that we still told our story.
Right.
I'm even more impressed with your performance because, you really watching you on Mad Men, right? I think the Christina I'm sitting here today, you see, I can see a little bit of that character.
It's a very different look and everything for me in
this.
And then
you're playing Cynthia Mann, definitely different than
yeah, very very different character,
very different dialect.
We went in and created this look. Tried to take inspirations from the real life Cynthia, and went and chose a wig, and tried on different options. Decided on that. Took the different sort of ideas that we'd seen from some of the wardrobe that she wore and went into costumes and immediately started to put her together, and it just started to really come together to be this really different human. So I'm really proud of it because I feel like, you might not recognize me when you watch it. I remember showing people pictures of me when I was first filming it, and they're like, that's not you. That's actually not you.
You're kind of double take.
Yeah, but as an actor, that's what you want people to feel. So it's great. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So with your husband being aware of the story beforehand, has he gotten a chance to watch everything yet?
He's only seen the first episode. I've seen all of them, but he's going to be watching as the audience watches. Yeah. He went to the premiere and he thought it was great, and he's excited to see the rest.
Oh my god!
So what do you think about the story?
I mean, it's just it's a very tragic story, but I think what's so intriguing is that it went as far as it did, and it's a real he said she said kind of situation, and I think so much about this story is about who has the power and who had the power in this situation. And a young child, and we can say she was a young child, that's been proven, in science and it's out there. But the fact that they were able to re-age her legally from age 8 to 22, and that this person didn't have a voice for herself. And so I think one thing that's interesting about our show is we're going to show it all at once, but the first half of the story, you're going to see it from the Barnett's point of view and understand how all these things were said and how they got to the place that now we're in a courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through, we shift to Natalia's point of view, and you're going to see just how different the allegations are and the experiences. You realize, God, if we just always listened to this very reasonable looking family said so we're going to believe it, or we're going to listen to this. And then all these other sort of things start to come out, and you realize, wow, you really need to look deeper in this story. This is really a wild one.
And then the character you play is painted in a pretty positive light in this project, but then like stuff has come out about that family as well, and that's very kind of just there seems to be more and more layers to
yeah,
everything.
I mean, these people are still out there living their lives.
Yeah.
This story is continuing on. Our story is a very specific time of their story. So for all our purposes, I play Cynthia as someone who comes into Natalia's life in a time of need, takes her into the family, helps her legally, helps her with love and care and a place to stay. And yes, there have been other things that continue to come out, and I think the public is still learning about. But for our purposes, I come in in a time of need.
Is this your first time like playing, like doing like a bio, like you're playing an actual person, and you feel like you have to, like there is research out there you can do about an actual person? Have you done that before?
This is the first time I'm playing a real life living person. However, we do state at the beginning of each episode, this is a dramatization of this story. Yeah. Like Dule Hill plays a cop in it, but he's an amalgamation of all the cops that were actually in this story. So our performances are inspired by these people. The story's been altered here and there. But if you're familiar with the story, you're going to recognize a lot of what's going on in there.
And is that a weirder feeling, knowing that like whoever you're playing
is going to see it,
watch it,
sure,
and then critique it, or have an opinion,
I'm sure they're gonna. Well, how could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, to have someone playing you on screen must be a very surreal experience. And of course, you've got your ideas of the story. So I don't know how she'll respond to
that question,
our depiction
people always
of it.
Ask, who would play you in your life story?
Yeah, I mean that's a game.
Right?
That's like a game you play at parties, right? It's like who would play you?
Who would play you?
And Margaret.
Ooh.
Who would play you guys?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Emma Watson.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like Jennifer Connelly.
Ooh,
right?
Okay. Nick said yesterday I was sitting. I don't know where he saw it.
You were sitting, and you were said she was giving me a little Demi Moore.
Ooh, a little Demi Moore.
Her hair was.
Not mad about it.
I mean, I'm basing this off of physicality and just meeting you, but maybe there's a different sort of aura that someone else would. Maybe
that's
maybe
true,
if the longer I knew you, I would say someone else. I'm not sure.
Okay. I feel like Nick is definitely. I mean, like a Ryan Reynolds,
I
Ryan
get Theo
Gosling,
James a lot.
Theo James,
just any Ryan.
Yes, any of the Ryans. Definitely
Chris.
Theo James recently for sure.
Not recently. I don't see it, but I'll take it. He's very handsome.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, so.
My husband worked with him.
Really?
Yeah.
On what?
On the Time Traveler's Wife. Not the film, the series.
Oh,
it was out a few years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So we hear that you like reality TV.
I do. I'm a sucker.
I love that.
I'm in.
How did you get introduced into reality TV?
The very first show was Real Housewives of New York. I know that one of my best friends was watching it, and I was like, "Oh no, what are you doing? You can't. You can't. It's a betrayal to all actors. You can't. It's against everything in our industry. What have you done?" She was like, "Just watch one." Hooked. So hooked so fast. Couldn't believe what I was watching. And then, that was the gateway drug.
That was like the OG cast, or was that the new?
Girl, you think I just started watching this year?
I don't know.
OG cast.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah, no.
Because
I've been doing this for a while.
That you like the current cast
I
of
do.
New York.
I do like them.
So
it was time.
Yeah. I feel like I don't feel like they hate each other enough. I feel like they're all just like cool coworkers.
But okay, first of all, I feel like to a certain extent, Salt Lake, I'm calling you out because I feel like they can't exist on the show unless they start a fight in every single scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that it was a bunch of people and watching their lifestyle, living in New York and following them around town and their families and their lifestyle and how they interacted. And then they would not get along here and there. And then it was like, ooh, whoa, there's a little beef going on. That's interesting. But the show wasn't about throwing hysterical fights.
Right.
And I just feel like it's gotten, like the expectation is if you're going to get cut off the show if you don't come in and blow shit up.
Yeah.
I do feel like that because now I feel like when we watch something and there's not a fight, it's like, oh, what a boring episode. There was nothing that happened. You know, it's
See,
like,
I don't
where's
mind.
the.
I loved the whole bit this year in New York where they were all making fun of Jenna's pubic hair.
Oh, yeah.
And they all had the wig. They were all just laughing, getting along. No one was fighting. They were all in on it. And it was an absolutely enjoyable, hilarious moment
So
on
you
television.
would almost like to see maybe a little bit more sincere bonding.
Some camaraderie.
Yeah, some camaraderie. That makes sense.
I don't need to see them all blowing up at each other.
How did you feel about Monica, Salt Lake City, and that whole exit? Were you like,
reality
it's time to leave?
Vontees?
Yes. Or.
I feel a little hoodwinked because I was kind of Team Monica at the beginning.
Okay.
My husband was like, no, there's something's going on here. There's
called
something.
it?
He called it. I was kind of like, she's refreshing and like showing a different side of living in the city.
I'm still mixed. We were really hard on her because like I was on reality TV way back when. And the idea when reality Vontees came out, like it was like kind of triggering for me. The idea that like
someone would betray you that way.
You sometimes interact with fan accounts or fans of the that interact with the show, and the gossip of the rumors, and they like to do that, and then they they'll talk about you, and that can be weird at first, but to find out how I saw it first was, oh my God, if I found out that someone secretly became my friend and that found out that was a person who was like covering me behind my back,
I'd be furious.
I would it felt so icky and dirty.
Oh, it was icky and dirty.
But then we had an opportunity to interview Monica and she was here. And honestly, I was kind of like,
I wish I'd heard that one.
Still out there.
Okay.
Check it out.
That's the thing about the internet.
Yeah.
Nothing goes away.
It's like, definitely, I was like, she's messy and, maybe she's told her lie.
What's her defense though?
Well, her defense was like, which I believed is like, Lisa and Meredith, like they all knew that she was a part of it. They even DM'd and interact with the reality Vontees. Like they kind of do the same.
She was saying they were playing dumb a little bit.
Yeah, and kind of like guilty
for the drama.
Guilty of very similar things, but like maybe in a different way, And I was, the more I've gotten to watch or, learn about Lisa just from the eyes of a fan, I kind of buy her reasoning.
But do you think that Bravo knew?
No.
Do you think that they were like, we know, but let's just see what happens?
I really don't. I think in my experience with producers, and I haven't met all of them, but when it comes to reality TV, is they kind of believe in their shtick in a way. Like,
but aren't they doing background research?
Yeah, but sometimes.
And she did hint at like.
She claims
that someone knew, then that person got fired, and that person never told anyone else.
Her story's a little fishy about that, and I honestly
but also,
don't.
Would you blame a producer for letting that happen? I mean, drama will ensue.
I think my experience with reality TV producers is like that's a less organic way, and like that's kind of if they did stuff like that, it's harder to have
get
longevity
a cast next time because people are like, no, they're being set up.
You're burning too many bridges just for a moment, right? And it's kind of like a cheap and lazy way of getting good television. And I find that to be more truthful than not when it comes to producers. They're not all producers aren't the same.
Yeah.
But knowing the production company that produces Salt Lake City and Shed Media and things like that,
I mean, they're the big deal.
I just don't see it. And her story sounds a little bullshit about that one. She's like, well, I kind of told somebody, I don't remember who, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay.
Have you ever pulled any inspiration from any housewives or anyone for like a part or
interesting question?
Even like a party trick?
I mean, listen, there's lots of things in the home with quotes and like merch from the franchise in the home. So we do enjoy it. And I'm trying to think, like, first of all, anytime you see one in the wild, it's the most exciting celebrity sighting of all.
Yeah.
And they know it. I feel like they're all like, I know. Like, you're getting excited. I can feel your energy. I'm like on an escalator being like, oh my God, I'm behind the countess or something, So I've met quite a few of them which has been fun for me. But I do refrain from asking too many like personal questions. I just go, I love your show. I love you on it. I'm so excited.
Has there
This
been
is
one in
amazing.
particular that you got a little starstruck from?
They're all exciting. I mean, let's go through the list of the ones I've seen in the wild.
Yeah.
Jill Zarin, most of the Beverly Hills housewives, because we live here. So you're going to see them out. My husband's seen Sonia many times. That's one I would really love to see. Bethany, I've been on shows with.
Okay.
So that was fun. And she was really nice. She sent over a whole big package of Skinny Girl stuff afterwards.
Oh.
So that was a good perk.
Yeah.
And you have some housewife merch at home?
Well, we have, my husband keeps his pins in a mug with the Countess's mug shot. It's quite good.
I got to fan her on this count. Yeah, when we were seating up. I also met the Countess years ago in Chicago, which was
she's fabulous.
She's fabulous.
There is a tray next to my husband's bed that I got him for a stocking one year that I think it just says, "You smell like hospital." So there's that. It's a good quote from Salt Lake.
Yeah, but I honestly understood where she was going.
Yeah, you were like, we all know what that is.
We all know what it is.
It was just like such a strange comment. It was so strange.
Yeah.
But well timed. Is Housewives your favorite franchise?
I would say so.
Okay.
I do like Below Deck, but then like, when we start to get into like Summer House and stuff like and Winter House, like I'll watch it, but begrudgingly.
Okay.
But it's just sort of like scratches that itch where when I just want to not think about work and just have that soothing salve of
Is it like your going
TV.
to bed show, or is it like Sunday during the day you've got just like nothing going on, you're just hanging out?
I have very specific things that I watch during the day and things that I watch in the evening.
Really?
And if I'm going to watch television during the day, it is relegated to like home shows, like redecorating, rebuilding. Those are my daytime shows.
Something that if someone walked in, they wouldn't be like, "Are you watching?" They'd be like, "Oh, what a nice."
They'd be like, "Oh, you're educating yourself." Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like classes in session. It's like it's a work hours.
Yeah, it's sort of that that's like, DIY projects, get inspiration. And then when the day ends, the last work phone calls have been had, then we can go into our nighttime programming. You can get into like great scripted shows and then fill it in with your reality TV.
Are you a big fan of any scripted shows that are currently out right now?
I mean, White Lotus.
White Lotus,
the creme de la creme.
But
it's everybody's favorite.
Do you think, I had this kind of theory, I feel like what's so popular about White Lotus, I feel like it's a scripted show written as a reality TV show.
You're
following these like humans, and it's like, it seems like almost like a character study on like family dynamics and interpersonal relationships. And like Mike White, the creator and director, like kind of famously was on Survivor, and then you hear about like his inspirations for some of these families, and then, like the more I thought about that, it's like, wow, I honestly feel like I'm watching watching a reality TV show.
Well, you're putting a bunch of characters in one spot, which is like putting them in a home kind of thing. So you've got this one environment, and you're watching sometimes people behaving badly, and you're watching it kind of spiral out of control. So yeah, I can see how you would, and the ensemble of it all. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you feel like you're able to, I mean, I can't imagine because I'm not an actor, but watching a scripted show, do you find yourself like kind of working in a sense where you're thinking like, oh, how would I have done that? Or, oh, that was an interesting, kind of just like watching every move that actors make?
I think so. I mean, I would say I can still watch something and be whisked away into, the performance and the drama and stuff. But of course, I'm always aware of certain things. That's where the reality TV comes in. I'm not wondering why I didn't get the audition. I'm not looking at someone's performance. I'm not wondering, why the Steadicam is doing what it's doing. I'm just like, oh, there's the boom. No one cares. No one cares that there's a reflection of the entire crew there.
It's more like, oh, we're breaking the fourth wall. Here we go.
Exactly. I'm just like, this has nothing to do with what I do. So I'm truly able to just relax and enjoy because it has nothing to do with work.
That makes sense.
And even though I can enjoy a film or a series and completely immerse myself, I'm always like, I want to be on this show.
Yeah,
How come I didn't get the audition for this show?
Yeah, I
Mike
feel
White, you can
that
call
same
me. I'm
way,
available.
and I am not even an actor. So, and I'm also like, I feel like I could be in this.
Yeah, well, you probably could.
I know you're less tuned into like the Southern Charms and Summer Houses, but have
No,
you
I
been
watched Southern Charm.
following? So
I'm
have you
not-
been
I'm not trying
following
to
the
kid you.
breakup of Craig and Paige?
Yeah. Well, I don't. Okay, here's where I draw the line. I don't turn the show off and then go look it up online.
It's strictly a TV
It's
show.
just when it's on. I have friends who will send me like, "Did you hear?"
Okay.
And I'll
mhm.
sometimes find out. So I do know that they've broken up, but I wouldn't know it from watching right now. Where I'm at in the series, they're
I
not.
don't mean to spoil it for you. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I knew. I knew. That's why I'm watching all this buildup as
And
we're
do you
watching
do
Paige's
that?
behavior and
Yeah.
watching
And is
Craig.
that do you set like that boundary out of like respect for the them, or you're just like I don't got the time to follow the drama?
I have to at some point cut. These people cannot consume my entire life.
Sure.
I have to like at some point cut it off. You know.
Yeah.
Did you get into Scandival at all?
Okay, so I didn't watch Vanderpump
Okay.
at all until
That was how I got into
the
it,
last
yeah.
2 seasons because my husband was like, apparently it's explosive. Oh no, my
Is
husband.
he? I was going to say,
He's
is
more.
he
okay?
He's way more into reality TV than I am.
Really?
Yeah, way more. I mean, some of the
Wow.
shows that he has watched, one season wonders that came and went, like the most
So
obscure.
when you were like, I think I'm hooked to Real Housewives of New York, was he like, yes, finally, like we get to watch this together?
oh, every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm done with such and such. He goes, don't say that. You're scaring me. wait. You can't pull out now. What are you talking about? We have a deal. Yeah, he gets very scared when I might be abandoning a certain show. He's like, no. Like I cannot do Southern Hospitality. I will not. I cannot. He's addicted. He watches it alone.
It's pretty good.
He watches it
I know
alone.
trust me, I keep hearing about little
Well, because
tidbits.
if he liked Vanderpump, it makes sense.
He loved Vanderpump.
Okay,
So I
okay.
only watched the last 2 seasons and then of course was obviously hooked like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But there were lots of people like me who came in on the end on that one.
That
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
I didn't start watching until that.
And then now they're all gone and right when I got hooked.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cuz they're not coming back, right?
Nope.
No.
Does the show
well,
come back at all or is it like new cast or is
well,
it
the
just
Valley.
us?
Have you watched
Of course I watched
so
the Valley.
We're gonna
I found that Valley actually kind of deeper. Like
yeah.
I felt like they were talking about real stuff and
for sure
real
because like now it's like we're out of the bars. We're kind of into real
Yeah,
life.
they're
Some of
talking
them are
about
having
their
kids.
their
they got
families
divorced.
and stuff.
Mhm.
I
you know.
found it like that they touched on subjects that were quite interesting.
Yeah, I think this season's gonna be
I'm definitely looking forward to it. When does it come
Jax's-
out?
soon.
It's
Soon,
been a
like
minute.
April.
It's been a minute.
Something.
Check
Well,
out
we
Tim-
could all get together for our anniversaries and
God.
watch
For our
love that.
anniversaries and watch Valley
You should check
together.
out Temptation Island on Netflix if you have.
No.
No.
My husband, first of all, he sings the song all the time. He's like, "You're not gonna tempt me," and he has a dance that he does with it. I'm telling you, it's a whole. It's tragic.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah, I mean,
You can't do
there's
it.
a lot of lines drawn that he keeps crossing, but I don't know.
Have you seen Temptation Island? Or are you like, I'm not even
I
gonna be a
watched
part of
one.
this?
I was like, no, I don't. I prefer my reality TV when it's not a game.
Mm,
Okay.
When it's like
It's
there's
just their lives. Yeah.
It's just their lives. Yeah.
okay. Did you get a chance to work with some of the cast that you didn't perform with on this project, or sometimes like when you're kind of in and out, like when you got hired?
Right.
I'm guessing they had already been working on this project. Did you get to interact with like Ellen and the rest of the cast all that much?
So they were already on episode 5 when I entered, and I'm such a fan of Ellen and Mark Duplass. Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass, just to clarify. And I wanted to work with them so badly. And I have some courtroom scenes with them, but really the story kind of shifts from their perspective
Sure.
to mine. So when I come in, there's they're still prevalent in the entire thing, but we start to focus on different sort of storylines. So I didn't really get to have like really good meaty scenes
Sure.
with them. But Ellen was also a producer on it. So when I first came in, because I came in so fast and furious, she was like, what do we need to do to make sure that you can get your job done in the best way? Let's get the dialect coach on the phone. Like, how can we make this easy for you? Like, we're so grateful that you jumped in last minute. We're sorry, but we're glad you're here. And she just really like came in, made me feel comfortable. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm like, someone's got my back. So she was a great producer and I was really grateful for her in that way. So, maybe one day I'll get to really do a great
So
scene
when
with
you
her.
got the call of like you booked this job, it was like you booked it and you have to leave in 2 days.
Do you know
It
why
was
that happened? Like, why did someone fall out, or?
Well, that's what I assumed. I just called my manager and I said there had to have been another actress in this role
Or they just couldn't find the right person.
They said that there wasn't. They might have just been saying that to make me feel better. It wouldn't. I don't care. I mean, we all get jobs because someone else dropped out. That's how most people get their jobs. So I'm not exactly sure why they waited to the last minute. And I was like, you guys, this is not how it's supposed to be done. You can do. I mean, because I wanted to, I want to do my best work and really, spend time with the material. So I mean, there's something to be said for survival skills, and so I just dove in and made it my absolute 100% attention. And that's all I focused on for that time. But, you'd have to ask them how that came about. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because other people were cast ahead of time. So I'm not.
It's just kind of a fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you the type of actress that, like, after a scene, do you want to watch it back, or do you trust the director to be like, got it, we're good?
I think you're talking about maybe watching dailies at the end of the day, like everything that was filmed during that day. I don't watch them. Even when I'm producing something, I don't necessarily watch it because I know that I can be overly critical. I do trust that between the director and our producers and our editors, that they're going to, come up with what's best for our storytelling. I'll go in there and I'll be like, wait a minute, my nose is crooked. I'll start to look at things that can't be changed no matter what, so it doesn't matter. And so I sort of trust the process with that. If I were in there directing or doing something, I would of course I would definitely be. But if it's just me acting, I try to sort of just put down what I put down and trust it. Yeah.
How much do you reminisce about your Mad Men days? Obviously, like, iconic show. Some people call it the best television show ever.
Some people, meaning you guys.
I'm up there, yeah.
And a lot of other people as well.
People. But yeah, like, when you're a part of something that special and that successful, like, what's your relationship with the show, and whether it's it gets streamed on AMC, or you see it, or like.
I haven't watched it in a really, really long time, and I think it might be nice. I might be ready to rewatch it. I watched it when it was on at the time. The thing is, I don't have to reminisce very often. It's very present still in people's lives.
Oh yeah.
The way that people can stream now, I mean, there's a whole new audience seeing it. A lot of people are rewatching it. A lot of people rewatched it during COVID.
Yeah.
And then that's already been 5 years. And people are like, oh, I watched it during COVID. Now I'm watching it for my third time around. Mm-hmm. And then there's some people who are just hearing about it and watching it for the first time. And I think something about the fact that it is a period piece, it's timeless. You're not going to go back and go, oh, that feels very 10 years ago, because it's really
flip phones.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it, even when you watch it originally, it was out of time. So that's kind of a great thing for us. So I would say, like, daily people come up and bring it up. So it's not sort of, I have to go like, oh, remember when I was like, it's very much sort of people are like, still like,
and there's
John!
There's such a vibe to the show where, like, I don't know, especially if you like that period, and like it really puts you in a certain kind of mood. It's very nostalgic. It's
very
sometimes
adult.
you find various shows that, like, you just want to feel a certain type of feeling, and Mad Men's very good about that.
How does it make you guys feel?
Well, I always really like the fashion and things like that, and obviously there's a lot of, like, toxicity with some of the characters and how things were back then. But
slightly dangerous.
Yeah,
feels a little
like
dangerous.
there's a coolness vibe to it, and there's like a style vibe. Like, it's from a guy standpoint, I've always really enjoyed. So, like, that's always the vibe.
I think that was one of the things is that for women, we enjoy fashion quite a bit. I'm not just saying all women enjoy fashion, but there was something about Mad Men that all of a sudden men felt like they had something to aesthetically strive to, whether it was the fashion or even just all of a sudden decorating your home with mid-century. That became very, very popular again because it was sort of back in public eye again. It's not like we invented the 60s. It's just we brought it back and we did it in this very sort of sleek and stylish way. And so I think there was an element of, acting a little bit bad that felt fun. All the smoking and drinking and philandering felt naughty, and then things looked great. And you've got these, these guys behaving sort of badly, but they look fabulous, and they're in these great ties. And I mean, you would not believe how many people came up and said, "Oh, our office party was a Mad Men party for years." And I was like, it's just like, you know, we can act a little bad at work. You know what I mean? So I think people enjoyed that for a very long time.
Are there any projects out there or types of projects that you're looking to do or would be like a dream type of project?
I mean, I've always been really bad about planning. I never have sort of said, this is what I would like to be the next thing. Like this year, I have Small Town Big Story coming out, which is like a modern day Irish comedy. Then we have Good American Family, which is a little bit psychological thriller, family drama, courtroom drama. And then I've got The Buccaneers, which is like a romantic Victorian period piece coming out in a month. So I feel so lucky that I get to play in all these different fields and get to try things on and comedy here and drama here. So I feel really lucky. But I mean, I've never done like a good old like Meg Ryan rom-com. I would love to do something like that, you know, like I think that would be really fun.
They need to make more rom-coms.
Yeah. But like adult rom-coms.
Yeah. Like a Meg Ryan, like
a good
You Got Mail.
Yeah.
What a great film.
Exactly. What a great film, right? I would love that.
Underappreciated, you know. Sleep
and White Lotus, by the way, White Lotus.
Oh yeah.
See, honestly, I feel like you would be a great character choice for that.
This is what I'm saying.
Truly.
Put it out there. Hey, Mike, if
we're
you're
putting
listening.
it out. No, we're
putting it out there along with every other actor. But me too.
Did you meet your husband?
How did I meet him? Well, I met him working together, although we didn't really know each other that well then. Well, it wasn't hot then. We were just friends. In fact, I don't even think we spoke until near the end of the series. And then we shot it in Atlanta. So then the whole show moved to Los Angeles. And so I didn't actually see him for a couple of years after that. So we were friendly because we were into music and we had some of the other writers. We would all text each other like, have you heard of this band or have you heard this new song? And so we kind of were aware of each other through that, but it wasn't until a couple of years later.
Who made the first move?
Well, I texted him and I said, I'm coming to New York. I was going there to sell my apartment. And so we decided to meet at Barney's for lunch. And so we went to Barney's and then there was, you know, a little flirtation going on there. And then during COVID, we were, you know, sort of having this long distance, you know, phone relationship and stuff. And he said, I hear things are going to shut down. And I was like, well, you should get on a plane and come out and visit. Like my show's not shutting down, but, and then 2 days later, it's like, wah, 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 the whole country shut down. Yeah. And then he sort of came out and we realized that, you know, being around each other all the time was really excellent and fun.
It's interesting on timelines because we kind of
similar thing for you guys.
We were
COVID
hanging out before COVID started. We were in New York when things were getting crazy, and then like she had spent a week with me. Like COVID was the first time we spent like any length of time because she was living in Georgia.
It is crazy though how I feel like COVID made some relationships.
And then we got married right around the same time.
I know, you guys.
Oh my God.
You're really on the. Hopefully things really work out for you.
Yeah, I was like, what are you guys doing next? We're both renovating our homes at the same time.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Best friends forever.
What is your plan next? Because we'll do the same.
You're like, I guess that's what we're doing.
You're from the South? Born in the South?
Well, I was born in Tennessee, but yes, the South. But I don't have it. I moved when I was a baby and then moved to Georgia and was still a baby. So I really feel like I grew up in Oregon and Idaho, which is very West Coast.
Yeah.
So I do have family in the South, in Georgia and South Carolina. So I definitely have a connection there and go back there. And sometimes when I get tired or tipsy, I get a little Southern sounding.
Yeah.
My father was in the Forest Service and he would apply to jobs in different states and move us to another state. And so we jumped around a lot. Yeah.
Was there a point in like your childhood where y'all stopped jumping around, or was it kind of like I'm in middle school here, I'm in middle school here,
Yeah, it was sort of like every 4 or 5 years we were up and gone. So it was fairly consistent. And then right out of high school, I moved to New York City, and so I kept the moving around going. And now I've lived in Los Angeles since '97.
Oh my gosh, it's time to go.
It's the longest I've obviously lived anywhere in my entire life, more than half my life. Yeah. And my mother's here and my brother's here. And I've got amazing friends here. So this is home now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been so much fun chatting
so
with you.
nice.
Congratulations on
Thank
an
you.
amazing project.
Thank
For those
you.
of you who haven't watched it, I'm sure you've heard of it. You're probably already watching it, but in case you haven't, it's on Hulu. It's called Good American Family, and it's awesome. So
Thank you.
check it out. And thank you
guys
so
for
much for
having me.
joining us.
This
So
was
much
really
fun.
nice.
Yeah, you'll have to come back and like talk.
Yes, and I want to
reality
see
TV
pictures
shows.
next time. I want like updated photos of the lake house. I want to see the progress of everything.
And
will do
if
it all.
for
Wanna see
any
the new
reason
studio?
whatsoever, if you are promoting a project, not promoting a project, but if you like want to just come in here and talk with us about Housewives or a TV show, we will always love to
Listen,
have
I
you
got to
back.
bring my husband in too.
You have to bring
We
your
would-
husband
we
in.
would
You
like
have
that. Yeah.
to.
He's the scholar. He's the scholar.
we just love people with good hot takes when it comes
Yeah.
to those shows.
All
need
right,
'em.
I'll be back.
All right.
Thanks,
Love
guys.
that. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thank you to our guests, Erin and Abe, as well as Christina Hendricks. Don't forget tomorrow, a very explosive episode with Allie Luber for Going Deeper. And then on Thursday, the ladies of Disrespectfully, Katie and Dana, join us for Reality Recap. It's a big week. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.